The music is playing, the sun is shining, and we are streaming live from Woodbine, Kings Plate 2023, America's Best Racing on site. We are absolutely stoked to be here yet again for the first leg of the Canadian Triple Crown for the first time since 1951. Not the Queen's Plate, but the King's Plate. I'm Dan Tordjman, she's Rachel Miller, he's JD Fox. We've got a lot more in terms of guests coming your way, but we actually have a race coming your way right away. The King's Plate, still a little ways away, but let's take a look at this one here. It's the Catch a Glimpse Stakes, race 6 at Woodbine. 2 minutes to post. The horses are heading there, and JD, we brought you in as an emergency. Give us that quick 2-minute analysis for this race.
Well, I think we've got a pace battle between the 1 and the 8 here. It's going to set it up for either the 5 or the 9, whoever you like more. Al Rosa 2-1, the 9 horse, and the 5, who I personally like, Ready to Jam. Ready to Jam's 2 efforts on Woodbine, 2 of the more visually impressive performances I've seen from a back marker trying to make up ground in sprints. I think this trip should this should be a perfect trip for the horse. And what Cassie did here is he had 4 fillies that he wanted to run in these stakes, and he split them 2 and 2. So we had scratches of the 3 and 11 here, which are both Cassie horses. That just sets it up, I think, nicely for Ready to Jam at 2-1.
Awesome. We're ready to jam here, obviously. Cheers. As we kick off this show, we're going to be counting down. JD, you can have some of my beer in a second. But we're doing a bunch of races here. We got the Catch a Glimpse, the Bold Venture, the Soaring Free, the Dan Smartly, and then the King's Plate closer to 5:30. Rachel, this is your first time in Canada, period. What has KP23 been like for you?
Okay, so I've been trying to be the eyes and ears on the ground today, and it is hot out. It's a little bit toasty, so all the Canadians do have the sunscreen on in full force so that they don't end up being colored like their flag. And I went down onto the rail and saw some incredible outfits. The scene, I would describe this as, is almost Royal Ascot-esque. The energy is high. Music has been playing all day, and I'm loving it. I'm hoping that you guys can win me some money today.
Can't do worse than yesterday, right?
Today, it's only up from there.
Yep. Do we have a shot of that beautiful Canadian flag? I know we do have an overview shot we could take a look at. We're going to bring you different angles throughout the track. We'll also be bringing you different perspectives from all over Woodbine today on this King's Plate 2023 day. Oh, there it is. I just wanted to see this one time. There it is. Oh, Canada, let's do it. We're going to sing in a minute, but let's first give people here the race 6, the Catch a Glimpse Stakes. We're going to take it off the screen for a second, and then we're going to push in a feed of the race and the call live with Robert Geller upstairs. So we're a little rushed into this one. We promise you we'll mellow out a little bit. In the meantime, jump in the comments. Let us know who you like in these races. Surely you're betting on a race or two. Let us know who you're picking. And we will have more analysis in the next 3 hours. So enjoy the Catch a Glimpse Stakes.
Comes up. They're almost right with 454 for Ryan Munger. Air Rosa has gate 9. Air Rosa and Rafael Hernandez. And the last is Rosa for Kazushi Kimura. For the Catch a Glimpse Stakes. Goes to the line. Track cleared, stand by for a start. They're off. Bit slow there was 454. Best into stride is Rosa, and shooting for the lead is Living Magic coming through easily. Also Handicrafty Oaks, and down on the inside, Bolt Enery goes into the top 3. Settling just off the pace, Sugar Treat, and on the outside going up is Never Silent. 2 away, Ready to Jam, and back at the tail end, 454 is over on the inside, and at the back is also Rosa, but out in front is Javier Castellano on Bolt Enery's gone to the lead as they head inside the half mile. Crafty Oak second, Living Magic planted 3 wide in third, about 2 lengths away in fourth placing is Rosa. On the inside, Sugar Treat, Never Silent running on a bit. 2 to Ready to Jam, well back. Rosa starts to wind up from second last pretty well, and last is 454. They come down to the 2.5 into the stretch, and showing the way, Bolt Enery Victory on the inside of Crafty Oaks. Out wider is Living Magic. Looking for racing room is also Erosa down the outside of the track. Living Magic's running on again, and here comes Never Silent down the outside. Out in front still Bolt and Aree, and up the inside Erosa. Finishing 2 is Never Silent and Rosa down the outside. Attack left and right here, Bolt and Aree, and going through on the inside is Erosa, and now looking for somewhere to run through, and the center's ready to jam. Here comes Ready to Jam. Erosa got the break though. Erosa in front, and the catch a glimpse goes to Erosa by a length to Ready to Jam. Never Silent third, Rosa fourth, and Bolt and Aree was fifth. 1:14.68.
Wow, an exciting finish there in the Catch a Glimpse Stakes. Erosa was a little bit more off the pace than I expected, but a big run there at 5-2. Interestingly, the person who put the ownership partnership together for that horse will be joining us live. We thought we were going to have him in about 10 minutes. Now it might be about 20 to 30 minutes because he's got a trophy to pick up.
Attend.
What do you think, JD? What did you think of that race? How it
well,
unfolded?
the 8, who I thought was part of the pace, just broke awkwardly. The 1 kind of took them around, and really we could tell coming into the straight that both the 5 and the 9 were loaded. It was just about making out that trip. And I really think that, finding the little seam on the rail for Rafi Hernandez, he did a great job getting the 9 up. Erosa, again, 5-2, was the favorite most of the betting, but we saw in the pick 5 Will Pays that the 5 was paying much lower than the 9. So interesting result, but we thought it was 5-9 or 9-5, and it ended up being 9-5.
There it is right there. Erosa wins at 5-2. Ready to Jam, 3-2. Never Silent, there's your price, 20-1 if you played the trifecta. And then Rosa, 7-1, finishing 4th. So there's your top 4, waiting for it to go final. If you had winning tickets, tell us about them. Drop something in the comments for us. Let us know you like. Richard, we saw your comment about the Sugar Horse. We put it up. We're not going to bring it back up, right? We're not going to bring it back up. We know that Sugar Horse didn't run exactly how we wanted that horse to run, but there are other opportunities. The next race that we're going to cover is the Bold Venture Stakes, race 7 here. And I just got a message here from Lonnie Donato, who's the individual who is a bloodstock agent, well known in the States, has really purchased a bunch of really big horses. Stateside has now here in Canada, where he grew up, he's forming a bunch of ownership teams, and this is one of them. So he should be in a good mood, and hopefully bring us the bottle of champagne that he's going to get with him.
I know. Get a trophy, get some glasses up here, keep the good vibes rolling. Very excited to chat to him. When I did a backstretch tour the other morning, I saw him hanging out back there, and I personally didn't realize that he was from Canada. So Dan, I'm sure that we're going to get into it more later, but Dan really had a big revelation and moment last night when Enjoy the Silent got into King's Plate, and you have a lot of connections.
I did.
It's
been an emotional 24 hours for me, and we will get into it. For now, though, JD, we know you're going to come back in a few to give us not only some picks in the upcoming races, but there's also a Jackpot High Five. Tell us about that real quick, and then we'll bring in our next guest.
Yeah, so we've got a Jackpot High Five payoff in the 13th race, which we won't be covering today, but we'll make sure to give you a ticket as we leave the air. They've been holding that over. It's over $350,000 carryover. Expect that pool to be north of $1 million. Going to be really exciting to see if anybody among us can pick the 5 horses in order, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. In the finish order in the 13th, and it's a packed field. It's going to be a very interesting race, Dan.
No doubt, no doubt. Now the wind is picking up. I just got a message from a good friend, Ren Carruthers, who made the connection for us earlier. I don't know what I said, but she said his first name is Donato. Did I say it backwards?
I think that it's how it came up on your text, but
I'm a lunatic. I'm an absolute lunatic. Sorry, Ren. Sorry, Donato. Did I say Lonnie Donato?
Yes.
Even better.
Yeah.
Our next guest is here. That's the way to start. Grab his mic right there. So our next guest, not only a rider here at Woodbine for quite some time, but also a jockey who's ridden in what was the Queen's Plate, now the King's Plate. Mr. Corey Fraser, no longer in the game, in a different game. We're going to get into that, but welcome to the show, Corey.
Thank you so much. I think I'm America's Best Racing's biggest fan.
Aww.
Like, the content, I got to give a shout out. The content that you guys do, if I could create a platform for racing to reach out to everybody, younger people, middle of the ground, everywhere. You guys hit it dead on.
Well,
Like,
thank you. That's a
whoever
good
your
start.
video people are, they do an I'm like a videographer at heart, and there's some awesome angles. There's everything. Like, you guys do it all. Your content, I fell in love with. I fell in love with you on video before I met you.
Well, damn. I mean,
And hey,
all right.
Hey, you helped
All right. Keep
inspire.
going.
You helped inspire the bow tie.
Oh, okay.
Right? You're the bow tie.
And now,
then
of course,
I
I'm not
come,
wearing
you don't even
one.
wear your bow
I
tie.
know.
Like, I don't know what to think. Yesterday, you were wearing a baseball cap without a bow tie. Come on.
So you're telling me to keep up. Keep
Hey,
up with
but
it.
Taking it
hey,
easy.
come on. Self-tied? Self-tied, man. OG right here.
I'm impressed by it. Because,
That's
yeah, the
pretty
clip-ons,
legit.
no respect. No respect for the clip-ons.
And Dan will be accepting proposals at the end of today. I swear, everyone that comes on to the show, it's like, Dan, an amazing man.
Like the video presence.
And I
like,
agree.
He's got it all.
Stop.
So
I just said a
I
guy's
learned
first
how to
name and
bet
last name
from
backwards.
your one-on-one
what do we do
videos.
for
I
that?
learned how to bet from your one-on-one videos.
That's pretty amazing.
Yeah.
That's nuts. I haven't learned to ride somehow watching you ride, but I'd like to. Go ahead, Rachel. I'm sorry, cut you off there.
after all this time, how does it feel being back in this arena? How has the Queen's Plate transformed over the years, and obviously King's Plate this year? But when you rode in it, was the atmosphere and ambiance like this?
No, so I'm an advocate of Woodbine. I think Woodbine's done a phenomenal job. Every big industry, whoever it is, be it Apple, whoever, they all get hate, right? But to me, Woodbine has stuck their neck out multiple times and tried new things and done new stuff. When I rode in the Queen's Plate, it was like just a great horse race that everybody showed up to and people dressed up for. But since I've stopped riding, what they've done and what they've tried and the things they've done of like making it such a crazy event, like the concerts that they've had here, the multi-day stuff. I don't work here anymore, so I won't get a raise out of saying all this stuff. So I have no vested interest. I just think they've stuck their neck out and they've done a great job.
Awesome.
I can attest to that. Being down in the crowd, there's multiple stages set up for performers. So we had some bands rocking behind us earlier, and it looks like down against the rail on the track, there's a drum set and some amazing chalet-style seating areas that everyone is dressed to the best, to impress. And I think it's a nod to exactly what you were saying. You know, this is kind of the crowd and the energy that you want drawn out on these key race days.
Exactly.
So
it is a one-off sort of event. A lot of these people don't come back day to day to day and become Dan the degenerate gambler, right? But you know,
He started with the good stuff. Now it's the real raw, analysis of what I am.
but I think it's okay.
Yeah.
Right? I think it's good. Like personally, this is the types of events I love.
Yeah.
Give a little shout out. We have an event in a couple weeks called the Greenwood Stakes. It's more exclusive and it's like the best fashion event. This is stuff I love.
Yep.
Like I love the fashion event. I love like hanging out, having drinks now, not having to pull weight and lose water. Now I can drink all the water and alcohol I can, right?
Obviously, you're a fan of fashion if you have a self-tie tie.
Got to go OG, you know?
That's a flex.
So tell us about riding in this race. This year, 17 horses. I don't think there were 17 when you rode in it, right?
No, I love it.
Yeah.
I love it. I said 17, why not 20?
Right? I mean, yeah, may as well with the
There's
two
only
also
one
eligibles.
derby.
Yeah.
But yeah, like it's still a big. You had a big field. It's a big field every year here. What is it like navigating a trip, 1.25 miles with these horses? So I mean, obviously, all of them going this distance for the first time. Most of them will never go this distance again.
It's funny how it works, but that first quarter mile is insane. Not necessarily the quarter mile, but I'd say from about here to there, it gets crazy.
Yeah.
Because the people on the outside are like, I'm coming over. and they just forget. It's like, the people that drive on the highway that don't really signal and they just move over.
Oh, no.
And so you better be in a good spot. Because if your horse isn't slowing down, you better be yelling or something.
Yeah.
Because it gets really crazy right about here.
This is good information for those watching and handicapping because for me, I loved Elysian Field when we last saw her in the Oaks. I don't like the fact that she's drawn in the 2-hole today, though. I'm a little concerned about that. Am I justified?
Yeah, like the 2-hole in a 17-horse field. I don't know the horse per se exactly, but unless she has speed
She
or
doesn't have
just
that
falls
speed.
out of there. If she
Yeah.
falls out of there,
Yeah.
she's fine.
Yeah, she's sort
But
of a mid-pack
if you're
sort of
cutting-
tracking horse.
That could be dicey,
Yeah.
right? Like because it gets really sketchy
Yeah.
before the turn, and that's I haven't been in a 17-horse field, maybe a 15-horse field I've been in, more or less the same thing. And it's like, yeah, I watch the Derby in the mud, and I get anxiety. I'm like, oh my God, because I know what it's like in that spot. And you see the people standing up like this.
Yeah.
It's like,
It seems to be all about the trip, and it's fascinating to hear kind of a jockey's perspective of what it takes to get a good trip in a race like this. You said your best finish was 4th
yes.
in the Queen's
Yeah.
Plate, which is an accomplishment in and of itself.
It is, but no one cares.
Oh, come on.
If you're not first,
It
you're
better-
last, right?
It better
Who said
still be
that?
on the resume. You could have been in somebody's super and won them a lot of money.
No, I realize that now that I've gambled a little bit, right? So I made someone happy.
So did you find yourself gambling much as a rider or no? This is the thing that you
No,
took up,
no.
as you said, you learned from Dan.
I did. So as a jockey, I didn't even know. So what's funny is after I became a jockey, I worked with the off-track betting department of Woodbine. So we went out, we were opening locations. So we're transferring locations from having tellers to being self-serve. So the customers are asking me stuff, and the guy says to me, like all the gamblers get a kick out of this, and he goes, well, I want to put these 3 horses in my exacta box. I'm like, you dummy. You can't put 3 horses in exacta. So that was the extent of my knowledge. So my agent loved that I had no idea how to bet.
Yeah,
Right?
of
So-
course. Yeah, a faux pas, obviously. It's
Yeah,
better
yeah.
that you didn't know anything about that. But after the fact, you've obviously you've picked up a little, some things here and there. But really, truthfully, and not to completely kick you off that track. So if you want to talk more about your handicapping prowess, go for it.
Yeah.
But you specialize in something completely different now, which is fascinating.
You mean real estate?
Professionally, yeah.
Yes. So I went to the Avenue of Real Estate, and I invested money into properties when I was a jockey. Thought it was very important, right? And I'm kind of on a mission now to do the same thing. I actually had an awesome interview with Mike Smith talking about investing money and how he did it. It's a very gap in our industry that a lot of jockeys don't realize, right? So it's kind of my passion and trying to help people out.
Because do you find that a lot of jockeys, the career might not last forever. You do have those prolific riders that continue clear on through their 50s, like Mike Smith. But do you kind of see yourself as helping guide other people along as far as what they can do and opportunities after the races?
Yes. Because in a couple of years that I had my apprenticeship, I did very well. What I know, if I know now what I knew then, the saying, whatever it is, I could have been big time retired by now. You know what I mean? And I want that for other people and just kind of open their eyes to it. Because us jockeys, a lot of us came from nothing, right? Then you throw 6 figures in our pocket, we think we're like, we're making it rain, right?
I have seen some very fancy cars and outfits, a lot of kind of Gucci head to toe, Louis Vuitton head to toe looks from some of the jocks. So this is another way to channel some of that.
That's okay. That's okay if you're buying that stuff with your assets, which most jockeys have no idea what an asset is.
Well, if you don't have some sort of like course,
They
I
think
feel
an
like you
asset
should
is a
totally
2-to-1 in the 7th.
Right, exactly. Well, you know what's amazing? Now we have the music playing behind us. We could give people a little bit of a look. This is where the sound is coming from that they're hearing behind us. And I noticed you're leaning in. Amazingly, I could hear everything you were saying, but clearly you can't hear anything I'm saying. But
Concerts, maybe, I don't know.
we've all lost a little bit of hearing over time, huh? That's a really cool shot, though. Look at that. It's really beautiful. And this is, again, just a taste of the King's Plate out here. Yesterday, and we're going to have to come back on camera for this, guys. Yesterday, the highlight of our show yesterday was that we had an exercise rider from the Cassie Barn join us.
Dylan Dunn.
Oh, you know him.
Oh,
He's a legend on our set now.
yeah, the young, handsome cowboy.
Very handsome and very jacked. And
Dan made sure he found that out.
See those biceps?
Well, you're going to have to remove the jacket because I want to see how much of it you've kept. I will. Come on. Come on.
Hey, well, let Dylan Dunn shine, all right? I don't want to.
You don't want to show him up.
I don't want to make him feel bad, right?
I think my line yesterday when he flexed is that it looked like there was an egg stuck under there.
He's like, "You got an egg in there."
I don't know that Dan ever fully recovered from that, but it was something. The prowess of the riders, obviously, you must be been a bit of an adrenaline junkie yourself too.
Very much so, yeah.
Riding of the horses at
My
all.
girlfriend likes to call it just reckless.
And hopefully a little less reckless in your new career now.
Beautiful.
Well, Corey, thank you for taking a few minutes with us. Our next guest is standing by. You're going to tag him in, but we appreciate the few minutes you spent with us today.
Awesome. Thank you so much, guys. I appreciate it.
Corey.
All right, we'll see you soon.
Right.
Corey Fraser here, giving us the insight from a jockey's perspective on what it's like to be riding here in the King's Plate. As our next guest rolls in here, we mentioned to you here in the previous race that the winner of the race, Arosa.
I know, that's currently what we're struggling with right now is Donato's 2 seconds on.
It's a little tough to hear each other, right?
Hear a thing.
Yeah, we'll shout.
He unclips the AirPods. Were you just accepting some congratulatory phone calls?
I'm in the air.
Donato Lani joins us. And keep the mic as close to your mouth as possible, especially with the music playing. So first of all, tell us about that. That had to be a thrill.
That was an incredible thrill. We were really excited about it when we bought her as a yearling. She cost quite a bit, I think $400, and we brought in some partners, and Jack Wolf and Lori Wolf of Starlight, Star Ladies, they're involved with her, and we're happy that they're involved with us, and great partners, and So Cumin and Matacat and Tom Ryan and Gavin and SF. It's a great bunch of guys, great partners. She's a wonderful filly, and it's nice to see her bringing that to a big day. She ran really big.
That was
and
awesome.
hopefully can keep those good vibes going.
Oh my God, I know. We got a few more to run later on, but I hope we didn't use up all our luck.
No way. There's definitely more. There's more where that came from. But you mentioned the team behind this horse in particular. This only dates back a couple of years in terms of this Canadian movement here. Tell us about it. Fascinating. I was reading about it this morning.
You know, I've said this before. So I'm from Canada originally. I'm from Montreal, and I left in like 27 years ago. In '96, I left Montreal, moved to Kentucky, and I said, if I ever one day have a chance to come back to Canada, I want to do it where I could bring back some friends, old friends that I've had for a long time, people in the horse business that I've known in Canada, and get a partnership to go. And we called it X-Man. And so it's a bunch of really good guys, lucky guys from Canada.
Where did that name come from, by the way?
What's that?
Where did the X-Men come from?
Okay, well, Marvel movies. My kids are big Marvel movies, and so am I. We watched every Marvel movie. And then I nicknamed the group, and we have a group where Tom Ryan, SF, put together a great group to buy Colts a couple years ago, and Authentic was the first year. And I nicknamed that group the Avengers, because there's so many people, there's so many great guys that own, and they're all really amazing guys that I can remember or say everybody's name.
They're like superheroes.
I just say, hey, we're the Avengers. You know, it sounds kind of...
Well, was that name taken? So you had to go with X-Men instead?
Right, exactly.
The Avengers,
Exactly.
That is pretty badass. I do
He's
like
a badass,
that.
too.
Assemble. And does everyone have their own character? Because obviously there's a bunch of different characters. So then who are you in the Avengers?
I'm the Hulk. Bob's
don't
Captain
make
America.
you mad.
Don't get me mad.
And this is the beginning of the name game, because once we get to the King's Plate, Rachel was laughing at me earlier, but we got to get into the name of the horse that I'm interested in the King's Plate. We'll get into that in a moment. But just to wrap up, this is something that's growing here, right? This is, you are going to be in Canada, and this is only getting bigger here for you, right?
Yeah, this doesn't conflict with what I do in the States. I've got amazing, do an amazing thing up there with amazing clients, and Bob Baffert, he's wonderful. He's helped me out so much, and he, I buy a lot of horses for him, and very, very privileged to do what I do in Kentucky. But this doesn't affect what I do. This is up north.
Yep.
I'm buying like synthetic horses, turf horses, and they're easier to buy.
Yeah.
A lot easier to buy than
Yeah.
the dirt horses. So I'm just kind of looking for a market where some horses fall through the cracks in the market, and bring them up here and have some fun with with my people up here.
Yeah, it's almost not fair though, right? I mean, you've like, come on, like where you've cut your teeth, and now you're here, and now of course you're here on the big day.
I know, but it's still luck. At the end of the day, it is so much luck.
Yeah, yeah.
It is. You can have all of the resources and ability to buy the horses that you would hopefully want to get, and they don't always come into form.
But we have a great trainer in Kevin Attard, great owners, great partners, and that's really important recipe for success. And then we just got to reload. We buy enough that something hopefully sticks, and that's a numbers game. At the end, it's really a numbers game. It's hard. We got to buy quite a bit to hopefully get and work out and be successful.
Before we get to the King's Plate, I want to ask you. You said I buy horses for folks, right? That's what you do on a very basic level. For the viewers watching who are like, what goes into that buying horses? What are you looking for? How did you even get into this?
I grew up with horses in Canada on a small level, but I was always in love, infatuated. I admired horses and respected them, and I got along with them. And I just felt a connection with them at a very young age that I decided a long time ago that I needed to leave Canada and go to the thoroughbred capital of the world, which is Lexington, Kentucky. And I said, hey, we gotta give it a shot. And I had to go, and I'm glad I did. But I don't know. I think it's just a lot of you gotta kind of fail a lot. You gotta buy, and you bought a lot of horses didn't work out. And you just gotta remember what works, what doesn't work, where they're going, who's training them. So it's just a lot of effort, a lot of try, and you learn from your mistakes. You never forget the ones that didn't work out, and but it's just got to keep swinging.
Yep. Rachel, I want you to set up the enjoy the silent conversation.
Oh my
because
goodness.
I feel like I might come out of my skin here a little bit. So go ahead.
I know. So Dan, I met him in the lobby of the hotel this morning, and the first thing he says to me is, I was up all night. I was thinking about this horse. Enjoy the silent. And there's so many factors, Rachel. It's the name, which was Depeche Mode, Dan's favorite band apparently, and Enjoy the Silence was the song that rounded out he and his wife's wedding dance party.
Our wedding.
The number 18, apparently very important to him. So
Big in
being
Judaism, right?
And when after he got on the phone with you, he had walked out of the room to take the call, and he walks back in behind me, and he goes, "Oh my God!" And I physically jumped, and he was like, "He's coming on the show. I'm gonna get to the bottom of this story." So just know that he's been up all night, probably I don't know, equally or more excited than you potentially about the promise of this horse that you have in the King's Plate. So did that summarize it?
That was good, yeah. I couldn't help but interject a few times because I am so excited. The name, what do we know about the name? You said you didn't name the horse yourself.
No, a partner of mine that was a longtime friend of mine from Montreal, was in the standardbred business with my dad. So anyways, I bought this horse as a weanling, and we just bought him to have some fun and see what happens. But anyways, he said, "Can I name the horse?" I said, "Sure." And he came up and said, "Enjoy the Silent." I'm like, that's kind of a cool name. But because he's by Silent name, and he said, "Enjoy the Silent." Maybe he's a Depeche Mode fan. I got to ask him. Because he was also raised in the 80s as well. Yeah. So I'm a big fan of Depeche Mode too.
I love the way you say Depeche Mode with the French Canadian. That's the beautiful. That's the exact way to say Depeche Mode.
Depeche Mode.
I love it. I love it.
I don't even know why I do that.
No, it's beautiful. Like, I love it, and it makes me like really remember why I love Depeche Mode so much. So anyway, the horse, I'm super high, and I want to show just a quick replay. This is going to give us about a 20-second break. They're not going to hear us when we show it, but this is Enjoy the Silence, most recent race. And
a good bold side off the layoff, a length away in second. Trying to get home is Enjoy the Silent, and two-way crossing from the back. In third, Midway Mischief still there. Turning, and it's El Cojete. A length to Too Much Talk, and down the center, Midway Mischief, and out wide, two-way crossing, and Enjoy the Silent are tearing home. Here they come. Enjoy the Silent and two-way crossing after El Cojete. El Cojete trying to hang on, but two-way crossing out wide in the center. Enjoy the Silent, race to the front, and on the outside, two-way crossing on the rails. Enjoy the Silent, two-way crossing has won it. Enjoy the Silent second.
All right, so there he was, my boy, if you're going to let me call him that. What do we think? Obviously, this is 17 horses. A lot of things have to go his way, but you got to like the way he finished up there.
What a crazy story. I mean, 48 hours ago, we weren't running, And then I get a call. I'm going to the Stapleton concert with my wife and daughter, and I get a call from Kevin. He says, "You want to run?" I go, "What are you talking about?" "Well, if you want to run, we're in." And so because of Kevin, he got us in. He did some math work, and he convinced everybody that he deserves to. He should be in the race. But anyways, we're glad to be here. What's really special about this horse is Canuck Racing are involved. Canuck Racing is a club in Canada, and a good friend of mine, Mark Halloran, that I went to elementary school with since kindergarten, and another friend of mine, Bobby Van Blockland, they're involved with me, and we produced this. Well, we developed this club called Canuck Club, and basically it's targeted young men and women in Canada, and they've never had a horse, never owned a horse, and they pitched in some money. We bought a few horses, 2-year-olds, and then they bought into this horse about 2 months ago. And now they got a plate horse.
That's
First horse
unbelievable.
they bought, so they got a plate horse.
Unbelievable.
So they're here.
Wow.
So they had plans this weekend. I said, change your plans. You got to come to Woodbine. You got a horse running the Queen's Plate or the King's Plate. So.
And how many members are part of that syndicate
There's
now?
about 20 of us.
That's great.
Yeah.
And most of them are first time, never
First
involved.
time, yeah.
Wow.
First time horse owners, and they're hooked. Let's just say they're completely hooked.
Wow.
We'll go back this year and reload again. So it's we'll see what happens. I mean, it's crazy. You can't win it if you're not in it, right?
Yep.
So
Amen.
If
leave
people
it.
are interested in getting involved, you're the guy, right? They just track you down and they can get involved?
Sure.
Yeah, all right.
absolutely,
Yeah, I know it's a
absolutely.
small group of friends. You may have to pass the test. If you could do all the Depeche Mode lyrics by heart, he might let you in, right?
Yeah, that's right.
All right. So, Donato Lani, thank you for taking a few minutes. Congrats on that win.
Thank you.
And best of luck coming up, especially in the King's Plate here.
Yes, thank you very much. Appreciate it.
We
Oh,
appreciate
thanks,
you.
Donato.
All right. So we don't know if the name Enjoy the Silent. We haven't fully confirmed that the person who named the horse was a Depeche Mode fan, but we just heard from Donato Lani right there that it's a cool group of friends from way back. Most of them first time owning a horse, and now they've got a horse in Canada's biggest race here, the King's Plate. Ellis is way off gambling or taking pictures, or I don't know what he's doing, but we need him for the analysis of the next race here, which is the Bold Venture Stakes.
So Ellis has been perched up in the stands all day. So as I said, I've been running around the grounds, taking it all in. Dan went on to Woodbine's show and broadcast here on site, and Ellis has been posted up in the same chair all day, absolutely zoned in. Every time I
He's
walked
so
by
locked
him,
in.
I go, Ellis, do you need something? No. Flips
Ellis,
through his pages.
Trying to say I'm intense?
And I'm trying to say that you are dialed in today. I hope that you're going to tell us that you have been picking some winners and can help us do so in race 7.
Well, I really hope so. And this is really a great race, even though we got a couple scratches, so we have a field of 9. 1 scratch, I should say. Flag of Honor is out. But it is a really good race, 6.5 furlongs on the main Tapeta track. And I was just thinking, by the way, as a side note, I just took a pan picture of, this is the only track in North America I think of that's got a turf course as the closest course to the grandstand. That big, wide, beautiful
Exactly.
E.P. Taylor turf course.
and the fans get it up close, right in front of them. They get to see the horses going by. Of course, for the King's Plate, they'll be on the all-weather track, but
Right.
still, for these races on the turf, you can't beat it.
And that's why I have so many, especially mixing it up with the 2 courses. It reminds me of Flemington in Australia, where they run the Melbourne Cup.
Oh,
But
look at that. Talking about a flex. That reminds me of being in Australia, of course.
It's
so-
Minister. It just reminds me of Flemington.
Of
I've
course.
seen it. I've seen it on Google Maps.
Yeah. The Bold Venture Stakes here. Ellis, we're on the same horse here, and we may as well tell people who, because the horse is 15-1, and I want to make some money. Let's go.
Secret Reserve, number 6, is really interesting. It's a pattern play. I'm a big pattern handicapper. One of the things I always do when I handicap is I ask myself the question, if there are races from a horse's past, that if we repeated those races, it could run well, not necessarily win. And when you see a horse coming back at the same track, at the same distance, or the same stakes race, then it's interesting, and you got to ask yourself whether it could do it, whether the horse can do it again. But Secret Reserve won this race last year at 10-1 with Eswan Flores up, who happens to be getting back on Sofia Vive's road. Secret Reserve to 2 third-place finishes at 6.5 and 6 in class. But I think trainer Michael Battine's been waiting for this opportunity. Last year, Secret Reserve came into the race off a third-place finish, just like he did this year with a nice finish from 6th to 3rd at 6 furlongs, the extra half furlongs. He also put in a really, really nice workout. 5 furlongs in 58 and 8/10, which was the fastest of 52 on the day. So you have to believe the Secret Reserve's in the best form of his career, or as good as he was last year coming into the race, and he's being ignored. Not ignored. I mean, you got the Patches O'Houlihan bet down from 3 to 1 to 9 to 5. So when one horse goes way down, another goes up. But I did not expect him to be. I expect him to be about 10 to 1 off a 12 morning line, not 15 to 1.
Yep. I am in love with the selection. I'm just about to, as Rachel knows this move, the deposit is going in. I am betting heavily here. No, I'm serious. This is the opportunity. The 6 is our opportunity to make money, build that bankroll. Patches O'Houlihan, look, is going to be, I think, alone up front. But to me, it's 5-6 all day. If you want to add a third horse, I'm throwing in Bordertown, but I think it's 5-6. I'm going to put win place money on the 6. I'm betting an exacta. I'm going to bet a trifecta. I'm going nuts. How about you?
Okay, so Patches O'Houlihan, I do really love. What I love to see is that on the Woodbine Dirt, undefeated. But more than anything, the name. Patches O'Houlihan is within my family. I don't know where this came from, but it's just something that we say. And so, like, if you get a hole in your jeans or something, it's, oh, that's Patches O'Houlihan. And Mom, drop into the comments if you're watching and tell us where that came from. But that's the main reason. However, Ellis, I do know that you prefer to see a horse draw back a little on distance, and this is going to be him extending the distance.
Never been 6.5 furlongs. That's the only question mark. Even though it seems not like much, 6 to 6.5. He's never run. And last race he ran in that he won was at 6 furlongs on Topeka. It was scheduled for turf. So trainer Tiller had scheduled him to run on the grass, which he had won on a month earlier in July, or a few weeks earlier in July, I should say. So, he may not be as good on the main track as he is on turf, even though he does have that 5-for-6 record and 4 of them on all weather.
We'll say it is important to point out once again today we've seen a major advantage to horses being on the lead on the all-weather track, so it doesn't hurt to have that early speed. We'll see if Patches O'Houlihan can carry it. Let's just kind of take you through the field. You see Patches on the screen right now. Secret Reserve there, a horse we talked about as well. A couple of others, just look at the bottom of your screen there. The odds, the one horse at 7 to 2 is Candy Overload. I think he looks like the best of the closers in this field. Again, will there be enough pace for him to finish up into? We'll see. But I think in terms of if you're looking for closing speed, that horse will be coming late. The 3 County Final is 16 to 1. That's Saffie Joseph Jr. shipping in with this one. Just 1 for 13, Saffie Joseph Jr. here at Woodbine. So that's probably reflected in the price a little bit. The 4 Last American Exit, so horse who showed some speed a couple of races back, is finishing the money 3 of his last 4 starts, despite being high odds every single time. So he always kind of shows up. The 5, as we mentioned, Patches, the 6, Secret Reserve at 14 to 1. And then just going to the outside, a couple of horses here that are interesting. Bordertown for me is interesting. Came in fresh off the claim and layoff for trainer Martin Drexler, posted career best Beyer speed figure 91 last out. If you believe this horse is in form and ready to take another step forward, I think he's interesting. The 8 is Told It All, beaten by several of these last time, and that's why he's 40 to 1. The 9 is 5 to 1. Old Chestnut came out of a couple of nice grade 2 runs on the turf. So again, another one here experiencing some different surface. And then way on the outside, Super Watson getting some love at 5 to 1, another one of the closers. But again, I feel like needs some pace to run into, and I don't know where that pace is going to come from, aside from Patches O'Houlihan.
Well, that's what happened last year. Candy Overlord, as a matter of fact, ran second to Secret Reserve in this race last year. Secret Reserve was up closer, and Candy Overlord came on, but too late. Let me throw in another couple. Usually Bordertown, absolutely a horse to use in exactas, and the 10 Super Watson. He's 3 for 4 this year. In his other race, he finished second. He's run the 6.5 furlongs very well. He's very consistent. And you've got that team again, Kazushi Kimura and trainer Marty Drexler. Who are
and
great.
He's having a good day as well.
Yep.
And obviously a great meet.
Annette has entered the chat.
Okay. Is this about Patches O'Houlihan? Oh, there she did.
She already got an abbreviated name for the horse.
Oh, wait. We're very big in acronyms in the Miller family. Allie
jumping into... By the way, Allie responsible for a lot of our guests this weekend. the heartthrob that was Dylan Dunn yesterday, who we all fell in love with on this show.
Mainly Dan.
Well, all right, whatever. We love you're always welcome back, Dylan. That was thanks to Allie. And Allie also set us up with Corey and a bunch of other guests here who have joined us. And so thank you, Allie. We wish you were here. We'll see you soon at a track soon. But okay, so Allie like 791.
Leaving out your 6.
How about this? Prince Edward Island checking in. Nanny.
Pardon?
We got
Listen,
someone
I
from
can't
Prince
hear. You're
Edward
too far
Island.
away. There's music.
Oh.
Just some of our viewers checking in from various places. Let us know where you are. Let us know who you're betting, who you like. So Annette's on board. You may cost her some money in this race.
Potentially. I mean, I do love, again, it's all about kind of finding value. And if you are you have a very strong belief and conviction behind the 6 in this race.
We do. I think we do.
We do. And actually, this is a great race, by the way, to play exacta or trifecta, because if you want to try and beat the 5, that's certainly it. Just by the way, my exacta in the race is going to be playing the 6, 7, and 10 Secret Reserve, Border Town, and Super Watson in first, and those 3 in second. But I am adding that long shot, number 4, Last American Exit, because he rallied to be second to Super Watson last out, and the 9, Old Chestnut. And so it's going to be 6, 7, 10 over 4, 5, 6, 7, 9, 10. That's a $15 bet for $1. You can make that, and if you get right with the 6 on for a top position,
you're going to be just fine.
Pay just fine.
Net Nanny, by the way, jumping back into the chat and letting us know that they picked the winning horse last night in the Gold Cup and Saucer. That being said, if you're going to brag about the winners you've picked, you've got to pick the winner in the next race. So go ahead and drop that comment in there. Last night, in terms of what we were doing, we were at Mohawk, and want to show the fans watching what happened out there. For most of us, a very new experience at Mohawk. So let's take a look.
Well, this night is special because it's the kickoff to our Grand Circuit meet again, and we have the Peaceful Way eliminations and William Wellwood eliminations. So the main thing with that William Wellwood is that the winner gets a free spot into the Mohawk Million later in September. This is what they've been working for all winter and spring, are these races. They've had these races marked on their calendars really since they brought these horses in as yearlings. So I think a lot of the local trainers, this is their chance to shine on their home turf. And it's always exciting, too, when some of the U.S.-based horses come in and we see the best of the best. Well, I think just that you're so close to the action. You can stand right along the fence edge. You can see you're right next to the track. And you can hear the drivers. You can hear the horses coming. I think that anybody that comes here for the first time, they usually leave pretty impressed with how close to the action they are. And they're real close to the both human athletes and the equine athletes. We're just happy here at Mohawk to be hosting Grand Circuit races, having the best horses, drivers, trainers from all over North America. That's exciting to us. So we hope each Saturday night goes as smoothly as this one has so far.
All right, shout out to Alex Probst for shooting that last night. Our first time shooting standardbred races, so that was exciting. Alex covering all the ground. We were there last night. What do we think? That was definitely a different vibe.
It was fantastic. A couple thousand people, it has a casino. There were a couple thousand people actually out watching the races, and the dining room was full. Oh man, their food, their catering was phenomenal, and the service
dinner
was
and a
great.
show.
Yeah, and people watching the races, kids on the apron.
A lot of families.
Fun, family, yeah, and races, standardbred races are great. I'm looking forward to following some more Mohawk when I get back to Kentucky.
All right, the horses are entering the gate. We can see them going in now for the Bold Venture Stakes. We're gonna go ahead and watch that. Good luck.
Border Town will be next for the barn of Marty Drexler. Told It All has gate number 8. Old Chestnut further out. So we have Declan Carroll, Old Chestnut moving in, and the last along is Super Watson and Kazushi Kimura for the running of today's Bold Venture Stakes, presented by Johnny Walker. Super Watson to the outside gate. The Grade 3 Bold Venture Stakes, race 8, will follow with the Soaring free, but the Bold Venture field is ready. They're off, and what a great start for Told It All in the center of the track. Patches O'Houlihan goes very comfortably in the Chestnut the outside. Behind them, Super Watson up the rails going through its county final. Right behind them, Last American Exit joins the main pack. A length away came Secret Reserve, who's tucked up on the inside. And towards the back in the early part is Super Watson. And last, about a length in behind them now, is on the outside Candy Overload. Border Town got back and showing the way by 2 lengths. Patches O'Houlihan from Old Chestnut, Last American Exit. On the outside going forward is Super Watson. Around the outside of Told It All. And back on the rails is still county final. Border Town just a length away as Patches O'Houlihan opens right up. Then Secret Reserve. Last is Candy Overload. The in front, Patches O'Houlihan. 3 lengths to Old Chestnut. Last American Exit on the inside. A length away Super Watson. Border Town started to wind up nicely around the outside. And behind them as they turn for home, Told It All. Top of the stretch, Patches O'Houlihan in front. Last American Exit up the inside. Down the center, Old Chestnut. And then came Border Town. Last American Exit's come up on the inside to join Patches O'Houlihan. And now Old Chestnut, Patches O'Houlihan. On the inside is still Last American Exit. Then Old Chestnut. And Patches O'Houlihan is going to hold on and win the Bold Venture. And draws off by a length. It is Patches O'Houlihan first, Last American Exit second. Old Chestnut was third, then a photo reserve with Super Watson, and the 1:15.34.
Well, that speed bias is no joke.
Wow.
Patches O'Houlihan went really fast. Looked like he was going to give it up, and they just could not go by. You want horses up front here. Again, those fractions, if you look at them, they may look like a different language if you're just kind of getting into this. But we can assure you 22-2, 44-3, and 108-4. Those are very fast quarter-mile fractions, progressive quarter-mile fractions. So logically, that horse would back up. The way this track is going, horses going to the front are staying there. Last American Exit, we mentioned, at massive prices every time, somehow always hits the board. No respect here at 45-1.
And I had the 4 under 3 other horses, but not the 5.
But not Patches, right?
But I will say I was looking at last year where we had the big closers running 1-2. The half-mile fraction was 45 4/5. This time it was 44 3/5. So again, Patches O'Houlihan had every right to collapse, and actually the 4 did get in front between the 8th pole and the 16th to go, but he found another gear.
Yeah, it just impressive. They was able to dig in there. Our 6 Secret Reserve. I think if the track is playing a little differently, probably at least hits the board. I don't know that the horse gets up and wins, but maybe. It was just wide and really too late getting moving, but didn't mind the run from Secret Reserve other than the fact that he didn't hit the board. You can look at the screen, you see it.
Yep, Patches O'Houlihan, a winner.
Let's see, Luck of the Blarney Stone.
Yes, it's the Irish name. Luck of the Irish.
Okay,
a little bit today.
That was the Bold Venture Stakes. We have more action coming up. Ellis, you're joining us again for the 9th race, right?
Yep, looking back at 9th. Yep, I'll let
Dan
JD
Smartly?
the Dan Smartly, a fantastic race on the E.P. Taylor turf, the one we were just talking about that's outside. So looking forward to it.
Thanks, Ellis.
Play for us, is that right?
Yes, we put together a team pick 6 play starting in race 9 because we go 13 today.
We'll show that, I guess.
Show it later. Yep, it's a 20-cent ticket. We got the carryover was. The pick 6 carryover was $13,000, but it's got to be paid out. It's mandatory. So we figure it'll be $100,000, $200,000, maybe more. And looking forward to catching our share of that. So.
The question here is who won? And the answer is Patches O'Houlihan wins the Bold Venture. But of course, the big one, the King's
By the way,
Plate,
that
still
was
coming.
Annette and Rachel pulling him across the wire.
Exactly. That
Willing
was
it to win.
Willing it to win,
You got to ride the hot hand, Annette. We need more picks. So send us more winners whenever you can. All right. So Ellis Starr is going to step out for a minute. We're going to bring in our next guest here momentarily. So yesterday what was cool is that we kind of heard from somebody who is behind the scenes, who works with horses every day. And today we're going to speak to yet another person who works with the horses up close every single day as a trainer. Look at that, right? Santino DePaulo, thank you for joining us here on a very busy King's Plate day.
How's it going, guys?
Great. Can't
Picking any
complain
winners?
that.
Oh, don't ask that. You know the answer to
I
that
was standing
question.
up there. I saw you. You're going, oh no.
I did, and my mom, who is betting at home, did. Not a ton of value on this one. However, There's time. There's room.
There's lots of time. There's
Dan
lots of time.
kind of leans to be a dreamer and hoping that all the stars align, really banking some belief in some of these horses. But I tend to go more off of just vibes, an emotional, compelling story, and that'll play into my King's Plate picks. But how's everything going for you?
Not too bad, not too bad. I got one horse in the 11th, so I'm looking forward to that after the plate.
Okay.
It's been a good day. It's been a good day.
So fascinating with you is that you said I've got a horse in the 11th. You train horses here.
I do.
Let's be clear about that, right? So you take these horses, you get them ready, you go out, you race, you're at the top of the game. But also, separate from that, you have a creative side, and that it's not just something you dabble in. You're a 2-time Sovereign Award winner, which is the equivalent back home of the Eclipse Awards. So the year-end awards for media, you've won that twice.
Yeah.
Dude, who are you?
Hopefully we can make it 3 this year. But it's always been a passion. I love promoting the sport. I like doing stuff like this, just getting more people involved. And I don't know, being a trainer, you have that inside scoop on what's going on. So I don't know if I'm ahead of the curve on what's coming up, but I got a little bit of an advantage that way. So being in media and content, it's been awesome.
And we've got a video that we're going to play here. Before we play it, we want you to set it up a little bit. We know some of it sort of changed a little bit toward the end of the video, but you could preface that. But tell us what we're about to look at here in this video that you cut.
Mike and Josie DiPaolo, their husband and wife team. They got Stanley House, who's 4-1, and Cool Kiss in the King's Plate a little later on. I don't know, they've been such good friends of mine. When I first started, I didn't assistant trainer under anybody, and they both took me under their wing. They're like my parents, basically.
But no relation, right?
No relation.
Despite
different
the same
spelling of the
sounding
name.
last
Yes,
name.
yes. Everybody thinks I'm their third son, but I kind of am. They've helped me a lot over the years, and they've taught me a lot of what I know. So I'm rooting for them wholeheartedly today.
All right, so you checked in with them, and you got the story, and here's how you captured and told it.
I want to run on the plate. I said, the plate? How are we going to run on the plate? He says, that's your problem.
I love Robert Geller. He's the best. He's fun. He loves what he does. Very educated. He knows his stuff.
I really loved the way in which she opened up, and that the fact that the crowd caught her move as I mentioned it. I could feel that the entire, or we in sync could feel the entire explosive move.
My husband will tell you Shillelagh slew. I have a fondness for Pender Harbor. He was an amazing animal and had an amazing character.
I'm not that worried about anybody. As long as my horse gets over there good, we're going to have to run to beat him.
My dad never got a chance to win the plate. He got beat a whisker with way over in the Queen's Plate, so I think he'd be really proud if we won the Queen's Plate.
Plate is the Super Bowl for us. I know we have other marquee races in the fall, but this is for Canadians, this is it.
Stanley House is their main horse. Athletic, robust, really impressed from the ability of this horse to progress and show a lot more forward positioning, and I think will go the distance. But I am impressed by Cool Kiss. I think Cool Kiss has really got this ability to turn on a fantastic finish. Wouldn't be surprised if El Cojero rises to the occasion as a fighting type.
All right, the field has changed a little bit since you saw that El Cojete is not in the race, and Enjoy the Silent, a horse that we've talked about ad nauseum, is in the race. Santino, that video, tell me what goes into capturing something like that, and then also tell me like what your assignments or work is or whatever you're planning on doing creatively today.
Today it's kind of about the same kind of stuff behind the scenes. The DiPaolo family Probably got to capture the walkover. They're both going to be mic'd up, so that's going to be a cool, different kind of segment. It's going to be like an ABR Wired kind of thing.
I like that. Name drop in the ABR Wired. I like that. And obviously the goal is, because we always talk about this, people are like, oh my God, like you captured this great moment. Like we were Jenna Antonucci at the Belmont. We were with Ramiro Restrepo at the Derby. Both of those stories that would have been good stories even if they didn't win.
Yeah.
And I think that's the thing that you're touching on here. They have a story to tell, win or lose.
I think the Sovereign's riding on them winning or losing this year.
You're like, come on, we need the win. We need the win.
We need the win. We need the win. No, they deserve it. They've been in the game for so many years, and they do things right. Yep. Like they do everything possible for their horses. They're so passionate about the sport. They deserve it.
That's awesome. That's awesome. Rachel, we were talking a little bit about the King's Plate and kind of what goes into handicapping. We spoke with a few different people. I wonder for you as a trainer, is it how much handicapping, sort of paper handicapping, how much replay watching is there? And then also in terms of the track, we talked about how it's playing, how much that goes into the way you look at things.
I think the track's getting a lot faster. Mm-hmm. As it gets cooler, it gets darker, the sun's not on it, the Tapeta gets quick. Whether that's going to be favoring to speed, I'm not sure. I think speed always does well on the plate. I don't know. That's a good
because a lot
question.
of it has to do with the traffic and just the sheer size of the
17
field.
Horses.
As a trainer, does that make you anxious at all as far as
yes and no.
what post position, how much that plays into it? Because I know that people read a lot into that in Derby.
Yeah.
And I believe that it's post 17, right? That's never won a Kentucky Derby.
Yeah, the Derby. That's unlucky. 17.
So I don't know the statistics on King's Plate specifically, but
well, I know like Stanley drew the rail. I don't think they mind it, and I think once you draw what you draw, it's in God's hands.
Yeah,
it is what it is.
Yeah. This here on the screen here, you've got the royal procession here commencing. The history here is kind of fascinating. Have you gotten into that at all? Or are you kind of a history buff and kind of the whole thing with the?
They do it every year.
Yeah,
It's definitely a sight to see. Like it's awesome. We ran in the 2010 Queen's Plate. We had a horse named Dees Wanduet when the Queen came, so it was pretty awesome.
Yeah. Did you get to meet her?
Showing up, we did.
What was that like?
It was surreal. Like, you don't know what a person's going to sound like when you meet them. And when she just opened her mouth, I was like, that's not what I was expecting. This is so cool. She chatted with us for a good minute or two. It was awesome.
What did you talk about?
It was more my dad and my mom. But I stood behind and I was just like, I can't believe this is happening. Yeah. This is amazing.
Like
and that was the last time she was able to come. So that was awesome.
Yeah. At some point, maybe we get the King here.
That would be amazing. Hopefully.
All right.
Hopefully.
We know he's watching.
Yeah,
so,
we got to send him this.
Obviously, we would love for him to be here at some point. Either way, obviously, a lot of sort of pageantry here. And part of the experience on King's Plate Day, we've taken a look from various perspectives. In a few moments, we'll have another guest here who... Oh, there she is. Who is kind of checking out more the lifestyle scene, the activations, and everything else going on.
And she's absolutely getting the shot of this procession going on behind us.
Oh, yeah.
This is a sure sign that we are not in America anymore. I repeat, Toto, we're not in Kansas anymore. And I will say I have been loving every single out and about that I've caught in Canada. And this morning, our first guest was the first one that gave me an A.
An A
after some.
You ever get into that? I haven't heard any of that from you.
Every single text that I send says A. Every single one.
No,
so I'm Canadian.
Come on now. Come on. You're joking, eh?
Not at all.
Okay.
It's definitely a Canadian thing.
All right. We know you've got stuff to do. You got a horse coming up in the 11th race today. Do you wanna be bold enough to give us a pick in the plate? Well, we know kind
as
of
much as I am rooting for the DiPaolo family.
Okay. Oh no. No.
No, honestly, Stanley House, he is probably the most talented horse in the field.
Yeah.
One hole scares me a little bit.
Yeah.
17 horses. Cool Kiss, I think, will come with a big run if the pace collapses.
Yeah.
So they got both ends covered. Wickenheiser. That filly's work was mind-blowing.
Yeah.
Like, she worked phenomenal. So I think she's going to run a big race today.
Yeah, look, we're on the same page. I think we said it a few times. Let me ask you one quick question. We said we're going to let you go, but one more. A horse like Kalik coming in from Belmont, big connections, Chad Brown, I don't know, but turf to the all-weather surface here. What do you think? And Chad doesn't care, if you're honest. Go ahead. You can tell him if you don't think the horse
Two
is
things. Tapeta is a really tiring surface.
Yeah.
I think it's something you either got to run on or work on and be here.
Yeah.
But that being said, watch the track. If they're setting fast fractions, it's not going to be an issue. Because when that track gets hard and fast,
it's not going to take as much.
It's not going to take as much out of you.
All right. Good stuff. This is what we'll do. We're going to show you Kalik. We're going to show you the horse's most recent race. Well, not the most recent race. Actually, it's the P9 Ridge win a couple of races back. We'll take a look at that. And on the other side, we'll have a new guest. Santino, thank you for joining us here for a few minutes.
Thank you, guys.
Thanks, Santino.
Appreciate it.
Good luck today.
All right.
It's Kalik by a neck. Freedom Trail on the outside. Lachey's is down towards the rail. Silver Knot is now moving up on the outside, and Belloni is out in the middle of the course. They're all chasing Kalik, who continues to lead. Kalik is in front, now by 3 lengths. Then comes Silver Knot and Farbridge down towards the rail. They are gaining on Kalik, but they're coming for the finish, and Kalik has done it. A front-running score.
Okay, we're just getting the update. The King's representatives, the Governor General of Ontario. We're getting it live here. I'm not actually doing it. Like, here, wait, I'm getting word now.
Reporting live.
What are you're pointing to my ear?
Down
You showing me the video?
the red carpet.
Okay. So let's watch a little bit of this. Do we have sound on this? All right, let's get some sound on this, and we'll bring in our next guest.
Our official greeter today is Isabel Ford, accompanied by her mother, Mrs. Sarah Crossley, and her father, Bill Ford, Chief Racing Officer and General Counsel for Woodbine Entertainment. She now presents flowers to the Honourable Lieutenant Governor of Ontario, Elizabeth Dowdeswell.
All right, so the video's up. Our sound is back, and we have the Queen of ABR.
The star
I don't
of
normally
that
get that kind of
procession.
fanfare, but like I'll take it. I'll take it.
The trumpets or no, it was actually bagpipe. Sorry to misspeak on
Yes.
that. The bagpipe was all in honor of the Queen's entrance. King's
I just
Plate
understood the
officially,
assignment.
So now there's room for a queen. I'm loving the crown moment today.
Thank you.
And I
Thank you.
can see it even looks like there is a bit of a queen embossed.
That's right. There's a little cameo in the middle. It was made by Loshi Designs, who's located in Los Angeles. She's amazing. She makes all these by hand, and I said, that one's for me and for the King's Plate. Thank you.
So I'm curious to know, how many crowns have you accumulated at this point? Have you counted?
Yes. She's going to read me for filth right now. There's like 175.
Wow.
I think there might be more. When I moved in
And I
January,
have.
there were 168. Now I believe there are about 175, 180. Whoa! Don't do it at home.
She does have a full dedicated room and suite to the crowns. So it's important to have space if you're going to have the hobby. So needless to say, with that many different crowns to choose from, it is incredible that you have selected this one.
And I've added
Perfectly
race hats as well,
coordinated.
of course, by now.
Exactly. Hats, crowns, there's options for everything.
I just want to point out briefly, the gentleman you just saw on the left there, the outgoing president of Woodbine, Jim Lawson, really, really good guy who has been so supportive of what we do at ABR and has been, over the years, has really welcomed us with open arms. So we appreciate Jim. We wish him the best of luck in everything coming up in his future. And, of course, also in continuing with this procession here, which looks very intimidating. So have you envisioned yourself in one of these, Sarah?
I don't know if I've envisioned myself. I do appreciate it. You know what I mean? I think it's cool. Like, things are steeped in history. I had never been to London until a year ago. So I've gone 4 times in the last year. So I was there for a lot of the kind of like royal fanfare. So this kind of feels like very familiar, weirdly. But no, I don't know if I've ever, outside of like my Disney days, like I'm not sure that I've really pictured it. But today I'm a little closer. We're a little closer.
It's wild, by the way. The other night, and we may have talked about this before, what you did for, I think, 5 years is an interesting profession, right? Like, I want to talk about that a little bit. Please share with the audience what you did.
Yeah, I was a performer on cruise ships for 6 years as a singer. So I got to travel the world for free, entertaining audiences from about 2014 to 2020 when COVID hit.
Is that like, is that intimidating? Is that tiring? Is that funny? Is it just straight up?
I want to know about the characters, like who you're performing for and their response to that. Was this like the best vacation of their lives?
I mean, yeah, it was cool. What I loved about it was, getting to perform for people who maybe had never seen a musical before, and just because like they were on vacation, it was like something to do. It's like, well, we're on a boat and we're out of money, so we're not going to the casino, so like your musical's next, which like, ouch. But also, but it was cool, like that might inspire them to go see a show back on land and that kind of thing, and just like my contribution to keeping live theater as a thing. So it was great, and I was in my 20s, and I was seeing Europe for the first time and the Caribbean, and no better way to like travel and see a bunch of stuff for like 4 hours a day, just like hitting it hard, and it was awesome.
Take it all in and see the world. And that's a big part of why I personally love racing and the thoroughbred industry as a whole, is that it's such an international thing. You could go to almost any country in the world and check out live racing. I know that when Sarah was there in June, it was a goal to go to Royal Ascot. Next time, fingers crossed, I will be there next year too.
There we go.
But it's a great excuse to travel. Dan, I know that you have been to Japan in the past and also Dubai. So it's a completely international sport, and you really recognize that when you go out of the country and then you see familiar faces from back in the States. It's a big world, but at the same time a small one where, this is a massive track. And even just as I was navigating to go out and explore this morning, I happened to run into Sarah on the escalator on the way in. So you never know.
Hard to miss.
Were you wearing that crown at 9 in the morning?
Yeah, right. Hello, good morning.
And speaking of, Sarah owns a horse who's running in, not running, it was at least invited to Korea. We don't know if he's running. Maybe he's running to Korea.
Giant game.
What's up with that?
I know. He's been invited. I got to see him at the race in the Whitney. Was that last week, 2 weeks ago?
Time flies in this game.
I know, right? That's what I'm saying. I'm in a horse race every week now. But no, he's. I don't know yet if he's going to get to go, but that would be such a treat. And like you were saying, like international racing, so cool to be exposed to racing in every country, and like I would love to see what Korea does.
Ways it's similar, ways it's different, and I know that as an industry as a whole, we're always trying to think of ways that we could, collaborate, do other things at a more broad scale where American horses are running in international races. Breeders' Cup obviously being a pinnacle of that, kind of bringing everyone from around the world together. And that's a racing event that you got to enjoy in Lexington last year.
Absolutely. I would love to go again this year. Breeders' Cup was such a party, and I just think there was such an appreciation for the horses, a love of the horses. Everyone's there, has a deep love and understanding of the sport, and I just thought it was like so cool. It's just an uplifting environment. I love breeders. Take me back.
Do you see similarities between Breeders' Cup and here at Woodbine on King's Plate Day?
Absolutely. I've been talking about it all weekend, especially with again, just like the love of the sport, the friendliness of the people, all of that seems to permeate, especially in these two areas for sure.
I can't tell if it's just the Canadian outlook, but they're definitely very friendly.
I feel like also if we were back home, I would have heard a rifle going off by now or some gunshot. It hasn't happened yet. Can we cut back to that though? Because everything is it's got so silent here.
No, reverent, Dan, reverent.
I feel like should we whisper? Who are you guys picking in the King's Plate? The sound is up, right?
They were lining up all these horses over by the clubhouse, which is where I just was before here, and they were all standing exactly like this. These are the most well-behaved horses I've ever seen.
Ladies and gentlemen, our anthem
were all
today
standing
will
exactly
be performed
like
by
that in line over there.
Toronto-based artist Rev, who has cemented herself as one of this generation's most promising dance pop singer-songwriters. Since making her label debut in 2021 with Universal Music Canada and Astral Works, Rev has amassed over 110 million combined global streams. Her Canadian chart-topping track, Control-Alt-Delete, Platinum in under 8 months since its release, was featured on Canada's Drag Race, garnered a SOCAN Dance Music Award in 2022 and a Dance Recording of the Year at the 2023 June. Ladies and gentlemen, please join me in welcoming Rev to sing our national anthem.
Ô Canada, terre de nos aïeux, ton front est ceint de fleurs encore rieux, car ton bras sait porter l'épée, il sait porter la croix. Ton histoire est une épopée des plus brillants exploits. God keep on land, glorious and free. Oh, Canada, we stand on guard for thee. Oh, Canada, we stand on guard for thee.
All right. Well, that was. I got some goosebumps. I ain't gonna lie. I got a little
No, I love it. Is
goosebumps.
their national anthem better than ours?
Oh man, I'm not answering that question. Rachel, what do you think?
Run to the comments and voice your opinion.
Exactly.
I
Put
would
it
say
on
that
them.
I would say that the Canadian one definitely sounds a little bit more musical. At least there was a build, but Rocket's Red Glare will test any
Ears.
performer. And all I can say is the national anthem can either be made to be the most beautiful song in the world, or you could have an incident like Fergie, I believe it was, where you go to the Rockets' Red Glare and it's a little. Woo.
I was wondering when we get to the Fergie part of the show.
Finally.
What did you, you were obviously all around the track. What did you see? You were telling us off camera, well, when our mics were down, what you saw out there, and really around the track. What have you seen today?
Yeah, so the Kettle One Clubhouse over there is very cool. It's actually, we were talking earlier about how many people there are, especially compared to yesterday. This is clearly a sold out gig today. And over there, it's a lot of the same activations, a lot of the same like photo ops, bars, like food trucks, that type of thing. We had some poutine. It was delicious. Shout out Canada.
Definition for the viewers who don't know what poutine is?
Oh, it's delicious. It's fries and gravy, and we added some steak and some cheese. So think like a nacho.
Curds, right?
Yeah. Yes. It was delightful. No notes. I have no notes.
Keto, carb
keto friendly, absolutely,
totally,
yeah.
It's about to be fall. It's beige carb season, you guys. It's August, which means it's basically November.
Yeah.
In my mental calendar. So
It's actually going to start snowing tonight after this.
Right,
As soon as this race ends, the snow comes down. So, end of summer. But you've seen a lot of cool things around the track.
Yeah. So it was cool. Like over there, I mean, it was just, you'll just notice how chill it was over there. Like everybody was over there vibing. I think it's because we took a golf cart over there. We took a shuttle back.
There's video of this.
Yeah, there is golf cart footage. And so I think like people just maybe aren't making it over there, and they totally should, because it's all of the same and better and more of it, and
Awesome.
we loved it. Yeah.
And this is your first time here. I mean, this is a lot to take in. I mean, you've done the racing circuit pretty well here. It's a lot to take in, and it's, I gotta believe this is one of the best experiences.
Yeah. Oh, it's beautiful. I mean, this is one of the most stunning tracks I've ever seen. My first time in Toronto, I was actually corrected on my pronunciation of the city, so I said Toronto on my page, and they were like, "Oh, you're not from here." And I was like, "No, I'm not."
And it was what, Toronto?
Toronto, no second T.
Toronto.
Am I right about that? Tell me if I'm right about that.
That's the same way people are about Louisville.
Yeah. Okay.
You say that you're going to see the Kentucky Derby in Louisville.
Ooh.
You're going to get a bombastic side eye
Right.
from anyone.
Absolutely.
In Kentucky, Louisville.
Well, thank you again for spending some time with us. This
Absolutely.
was awesome. You've got a couple of races. Do you have a pick in the King's Plate? Have you landed on a horse yet?
Yeah, I'm actually going to go with Elysian. What is it? Elysian Fields?
Elysian Fields.
Yes.
Yeah. Like that.
Mostly because I know that Moira took the Oaks and she did a double last year. Elysion's going to do the same, I feel. Also, the first crown maker I ever worked with was Elysion Designs.
Oh.
So I've got a personal connection there
There you go.
with just that word. I don't think you see that word very often. So that's my pick.
Seriously, like here, as opposed to the Kentucky Derby, where not many female horses have won the Kentucky Derby,
Yeah.
it's a little more of a level playing field here, which again is maybe more reflective of just kind of like bigger picture, right? Like Canada, but like the fillies here do really well in this race. Moira, as you mentioned, last year did it, and there have been so many over the past 10 years. She's really talented. The one thing we talked about strategically, like think about it, 17 horses are in this race, right?
No.
And she's on the inside. So all those horses from the outside are going to try to come to the inside. It's like, like how is she going to navigate that, all that pressure coming over,
Totally, yeah. 17 horses. I can't, and no one's scratched yet, right?
No,
I can't, because we've got two, there's like 19 total, like two
also
alternates.
eligibles, but at this point, they wouldn't come in even if one, defective.
Yeah, I just can't wait to see 17 horses on the field, to be honest. I don't think I've ever seen that before.
Really?
Yeah, I'm excited.
Yeah, no, it's really, like I don't know how often it's happened here, or if it's ever happened here, but in the years we've been coming here, do not remember it ever happening here. So it's really
your
cool.
picks, unless you said them already, but tell me.
No, we should talk, yeah.
Dan is going hard with Enjoy the Silent.
No,
this horse that was also eligible. And I'm going Coco Kaipu because I think that it's a great sentimental story of this trainer. This is his first ever horse that's going to be in this race. And for decades, really, he was grinding it out without finding tremendous success. And he was one of the trainers that we were lucky enough to meet with yesterday morning before coming out to the track. And just Ted Holder, the most calm, cool, collected guy. And you can tell that he really has a passion for this horse and was familiar with the full or half-sister of Coco Kaipu, which is a Finnish word, by the way, that means wanderlust.
I know, I'm so glad we figured out how to say it. Yesterday, Rachel and I were asking everyone. It was like our party trick of the...
Now she's got the definition already.
Yeah, right, I know.
Moved on.
Exactly. Spelling it is a different thing. I would love to see that dropped in on the National Spelling Bee, just to...
There's two U's on the end. Don't see that very often.
You don't. So... Enjoy the Silent, Calco Kaipu. We like the 8 horse as well, Wickenheiser. The only thing is, like if you notice, you've been watching these races, a lot of horses that go into the front are staying there. Not many horses are closing from, you see the horses come, oh, look at that horse coming, and they go by. It's not happening today. It didn't happen yesterday. So we're a little concerned that all these horses we like are going to be, they need to come from off the pace. The one horse in here who's going to definitely be on the lead, and you just may want to bet because he's logical at this point, is Paramount Prince. He's going to be alone by himself on the front, and all the horses that have been alone in the front have won.
A prince, you say?
Yeah, there we go.
Burst into song.
Love it.
Immediately.
Go ahead.
Not today.
Can you sing Enjoy the Silence?
No, I think the namesake means I can't.
I am wanted.
There you go.
I am
You're the best. Thank you.
We'll have singing. Yeah, she's like, let me get out of here.
Later.
Yeah. We'll have singing. By the way, you mentioned you've been, just real quick, we're going to play Moira. I want to show people Moira and how she won the Queen's Plate yesterday. Then we're going to bring in JD for picks. Real quick, the guy behind the scenes here, you mentioned going to, the UK 4 times this year and all that. Tell us why you went and who the guy is and how amazing he is.
Who dat? Yeah, my boyfriend Kyle, who works for Reddit, he is filming me right now because he is my second shooter in so many ways for my social media. But he lived in London. He now lives in New York City with me. But he's the whole reason that I got to go and that I kept going back.
We thought we'd get some tears. Maybe, yeah, we thought we'd get some tears. Not yet. We love Kyle, though, and we love you.
Either sing or talk about your boyfriend, one of the two.
One of these days, he won't even know what's coming. He's just going to magically appear on set.
That's right.
Like, Kyle, how did you get here?
Yeah, you're up next, brother. You're up next.
I think he's a betting enthusiast at this point. I think he outdoes me most of the days.
Okay, but does he have the same pick as you, and does he bankroll your
choices,
do you? Sarah?
You have the same pick as me?
Shaking his head.
Oh, he's with Rachel, he says.
Okay.
So there you go.
All right, Sarah Cline is here. We appreciate her checking in.
Yeah,
and
thanks,
again,
guys.
follow her on all our channels. Tall Glass of Cline.
Thank you.
TikTok and the
I'll see you guys later. Enjoy.
See you soon, Sarah. Let's take a look back at that 2022 King's Plate and Moira.
And they're off. And one of the best into stride is Dancing in Denial and Surfer Shore. Away well the Minxter and Rondour and Ironstone on the inside. Right behind them in the early part is Causing Mayhem. Deep on the track from Huntmaster. Duke of Love the rail. Moira's back third last from Hall of Dreams and Chamateur. The Minxter's in front. Ironstone on the inside second. Racing third, Surfer Shore. Caught wide here, Causing Mayhem. In the centre, Rondour has a perfect spot for Flavian Pratt. On the outside, Huntmaster, and climbing up the rails there is Duke of Love as they're bunched up. Right behind them is the filly Moira from Dancing in Denial. Hall of Dreams is second last, and last is Chamateur. There's only about 5 lengths first to last, and showing the way in the Queen's Plate, the Minxter races out in front nicely for David Moran. Got away by 2 lengths. Ironstone second, 3/4 Surfer Shore as they go into the backstretch. On the inside, Duke of Love, still a bit wide, Causing Mayhem, but running into fourth. Rondour is right there in the centre. A length away came Moira coming up on the inside of Huntmaster. Dancing in Denial is back third last. Hall of Dreams is second last, and the trailer is Chamateur. The Minxter started to make them run. The Minxter racing out by a length. Ironstone tagging in second. They've broken away 4 lengths. Surfer Shore in third, Causing Mayhem on the outside. Here comes Rondour splitting horses, and Duke of Love the inside. And now the filly hooks to the outside in Moira, and she's 6 off the lead. A gap to Hall of Dreams, Huntmaster, Dancing in Denial, and Chamateur. Kazushi Kimura on Ironstone, racing to the Minxter as they come down to the final quarter in the Queen's Plate. The Minxter, Ironstone, and here comes the filly, Moira, and she's exploding down the outside, and in the blink of an eye has raced to the front, and it's Moira out in the lead 2 lengths. Racing home is Hall of Dreams down the outside, but the mighty filly has devastated them, and the 163rd Queen's Plate is a big win for Moira. She is stunning, wins 6 lengths. Hall of Dreams second.
And a very impressive win replay there from Moira, who is clearly a fan favorite in this upcoming race. JD, thoughts, opinions? Moira.
In race 9.
Or race 9.
So
You're so excited to see her. You're like, she's coming up right now. I want her right now. I want her right now.
Yeah,
I'm ready.
She'll be in the dance smartly, but we do have another 2-year-old stake here, the Soaring Free. And this race is kind of a split race with the stakes race we saw in the 6th, and we had talked about it when I was on for the 6th. Mark Casse split his 4 runners between these 2 races, so the 2 scratches you see on the board, Ready to Jam, who was the runner-up in race 6, and Sugar Treat, they are not in the field, but everybody else is out there. And kind of a surprising betting board from my standpoint that Rhapsody is the 8-5 favorite right now. Nice turf debut win for Kevin Attard. Leading rider Kazushi Kimura aboard, but I'm going in a different direction, Dan, as I am one to do.
I know this. You are going to?
The 11, the outside Golden Canary. This is one of the Casse runners that was scratched in race 6 to be here in race 8. Going to talk a little bit about her Damn Black Canary. Debuted on the turf at Saratoga, going 6.5 and 1. Then they stepped up in class a little bit with her, ran in the Natalma. But it's the same connections. And what's interesting about it is Gary Barber bought the Damn Black Canary private sale. Then actually that horse sold through and actually sold in full. So didn't own the horse anymore, and now buys the daughter back at OBS this year. So obviously knows this family tree well, and Golden Canary sitting on the board at 7-1, my top choice here.
Who's going to be on the front since all the horses on the front are winning? Is it Golden Canary or is it somebody else?
I think it's going to be Rhapsody sitting probably the trip, but I really think Golden Canary can be right behind. Again, Golden Canary's form was really it was improved by Arosa winning in the previous race, the 6, who finished ahead in the maiden effort. Sahin Savachi will try to get this horse, I think, a little closer out of the gate and try to run here. 6.5 furlong sprint, not a lot of time. These are young 2-year-olds, but what we saw with the turn of foot from Golden Canary last time out, I'm confident enough to make her the top pick here at 7-1.
Rachel sees me frantically putting in bets here. This always works out well for me. It certainly has the past couple of days.
Yeah, the last-minute scramble, depositing more money to the account.
Hey, no, we have to drop that in. We have to drop that in. All right. First of all, where's Mom Dukes? There she is, triple tray, right? I'm on the same page with her. So now we're going to see whose force is stronger. Either it's your mom or it's me with my losing streak that I'm on.
Okay.
What's going to win out here? I just
Okay.
bet Triple Tray, the 7 horse, myself.
There they are.
I love this horse. Guaranteed to be a late factor for me, especially if they do go fast early. This is getting to the time of the day where they should realize that if you let a horse go loose on the lead, they're going to win. So maybe put a little pressure on. What do we say, guys? Push each other a little bit. If that happens, Triple Tray 100% hits the board at 7-1, and I think wins if the setup is right. Now, interestingly, the 8 Busick was beaten by Triple Tray before, and yet Busick's a shorter price and might still be a short price because Javier Castellano, I'm going to go ahead and win 2 Triple Crown races this year.
Insane.
Comes up here and he's like, I'm going to win these races too. He's riding in the King's Plate. He's also riding here, so I think that's where the money is. But Roberto Rodriguez, who came on with us yesterday, he told me, he's like, Dan, I don't know who's going to win the King's Plate. I know who's going to win this race, though, and it's the 7 horse Triple Tray. He saw Triple Tray in the Schuylerville. Horse had issues.
Yep.
Could have easily gotten up for 3rd. Let's just say that was a tougher field than this one. If there is any
Saratoga.
pace at all, if they battle up front, and if any horse closes, it'll be Triple Tray, and Triple Tray would win. Annette, let's make this happen. Let's manifest it, as we said yesterday.
I know. I was teaching the boys about manifesting, which is Gen Z's favorite thing, and or any girl in their 20s. It's all about manifesting. And with 2-year-olds, it is pretty fun to try and dream about what they could do. It's interesting that you're talking about sending them out to the lead early. As our exercise rider and new favorite of the ABR show, Dylan, said yesterday, those 2-year-olds are really, really tough to control. They could have all the talent in the world, but if you can't channel that, or as a jockey, get them to run the race that you want them to have, it's really, really tough. And I know that that was a factor even in horses like Cody's Wish. When Dan chatted to Junior Alvarado, he said, look, this horse had all the talent in the world. Everything was looking right on paper. He had the mentality, but he just wanted to do what he wanted to do. And these horses are still super early on in their careers. So it's always a toss-up a little bit. I think that it's a great opportunity to look for some value instead of going with the obvious betting favorite, the 1 horse, Rhapsody. So here it looks like they're coming to the gate. Place those bets now. Ride the Triple Tray train if you're into manifesting with me, Dan, and my mom.
I meant to show this earlier. I guess we missed something here. This is a pick 6 that starts here. This is Ellis's ticket. So
Yep.
he didn't get to introduce it, but you. Well, here it is at the bottom of the screen. He likes 1 and 5 here, so he's going with roughly the top 2 choices here, and that's the rest of his ticket. We'll bring him back if you could roll it back into a pick 4 and some other plays later on, or some pick 3s. But that's his ticket. Since Ellis is, who's he talking? Oh, he's talking to Lindsay. I'm like, what is he doing back there? We'll get him back for the next race. We'll get some analysis, and then again, as we talked with you about earlier, we'll have you on to talk about that Jackpot High Five,
yep,
which will be nice. There's a lot of money in that pool. All right, so what I'm going to do is we're going to take this one off, right? And we've got that on. You got the audio. At some point, we'll shut up, and you'll put that sound on, right? Okay, cool. All right, so the last horse is loading here. That's JD's horse here. That's your Daymaker, right?
That would be the Daymaker here.
All right, let's see what happens here. Golden Canary for JD, Triple Tray for me, and we'll see what happens.
On their way, a great start. That is a perfect line. Dancing Duchess and 4 Strong Winds narrowly in front. On the outside goes Golden Canary, and coming up towards the lead is Please Advise on their inside. And racing handy behind them is Rhapsody. And as they settle, Pontiac's the widest, followed in the centre by Motscari. Busick is second last. And a length and a half away last is Triple Tray. Showing the way narrowly is Canary, got out to lead now by about a length. In second placing, Dancing Duchess as they go into the turn. 4 Strong Winds is third. The outside, Pontiac attending the pace. A length behind them came Rhapsody. Over on the inside, Please Advise. 1 to Busick, next to last Motscari, and 3 away last is Triple Tray. About 7 or 8 lengths covers the field, and showing the way is Golden Canary from the outside gate to the rail. The way as they come in 5/16 and leads by a length and a half. Coming up on the inside is still Dancing Duchess. Racing around the outside is 4 Strong Winds from Pontiac, and trying to get home is Please Advise. Rhapsody behind horses, but Golden Canary flew away. Golden Canary 2 in front of Dancing Duchess. Rhapsody Busick and Javier Castellano are mounting a run now. Dancing Duchess coming. Golden Canary, Dancing Duchess at Golden Canary and Dancing Duchess. Golden Canary on the inside. Dancing Duchess flying home on the outer. Golden Canary narrowly. Golden Canary wins the Soaring free. Dancing Duchess second. Third is Rhapsody. And back
Mr. J.D. Fox, ladies and gentlemen. Mr. J.D. Fox.
Well, I was due to heat up at some point because I was on fire on Friday. I was apparently picking horses at different tracks. Maybe I switched my PP somehow yesterday. I got it back on our trip to Mohawk last night. And
it's
now,
true. You last bet of the night, finally a winner.
And then you said Daymaker. I got to give a shout out to my buddy Aaron Vercruzzi, who's very famous for making that phrase in Southern California. And we borrowed it here. But 7-1, I'll take every bit of it.
Yep.
And we're up on the day, and we're alive and everything, and life is good.
Life is good.
And Triple Trey had a good gallop out. At the end.
Oh, there's Triple Trey. Oh, there's Triple Trey. Yeah. Anyhow, obviously, my force stronger than Mom's.
Yeah. You're sucking.
Right. I'll tell you earlier so you don't bet my horses next race. It's crazy. I was hot last time. I can't find a winner this time. But anyhow, this is the hot hand. You know right now, 7-1 with Golden Canary. Nicely done.
Yeah, we're alive to quite a bit here. We're alive in myself and Dan's Pick 6 ticket. That's the most important thing, right? We're alive in tickets we didn't share on air. That's the perfect thing.
Well, we've got that Jackpot High Five, and you constructed that one. So if you want to ride JD's hot hand, let's give him a little tease. Let's show them what it is that you're looking at. This is race 13 here, so we're looking a little past the King's Plate. But that is the ticket right there. It'll come back across your screen here a couple more times. And let's just relish in this right here also. This is Golden Canary at 7-1. Got to the front, as just about every other horse has the past 2 days, both turf and all weather, and went all the way. And we knew when we saw 23-3 and 46-4, if you're following these numbers throughout the past couple of days, these are slower numbers, right? Especially for a sprint race.
Yep.
And so it's set up real nicely, and they let Golden Canary cross over. That Mark Cassie, he kind of knows what he's doing.
Or two about horses. I think the other thing.
He's onto something.
I think the other thing I can mention, as I said this off the air while the race was going, when I saw that 23-3 pop on the screen, I said, Dan, I would have paid you $200 before the race for that fraction with Golden Canary up front. It went really well. And Sahin Savachi with a great ride there. And we're seeing my super high five on the screen. Is that correct,
Yep,
Dan?
the Jackpot High
So I
Five's
have
right up there.
my Jackpot High Five. In race 13, we're not going to be in the air for it. This is how I structure these crazy tickets is I will take a stand and find a key in the sequence, and my key is in the 4th place spot. It's a horse named after Dan. It's a little bit gangsta. Just a little bit. It's a little bit.
A touch.
It's a little bit gangster. So I really think that the key in this is you have to take a stand, because I took a stand there and I could spread a lot more in the other legs. So if it just so happens that the 11 finishes in 4th, we pretty much have every other consequence of the race covered, and we win. It's that easy,
wild.
Dan.
How did you decide to put the 11 and 4th?
Well, I looked at the fact that this is going to be a back marker, and I think the pace is going to be pretty honest, and back markers haven't done great to get in front, but they've done pretty well getting into 5th or 4th over the last couple days. So I'm looking at the biggest back marker in this field, which I think is a little bit gangster. Rico Walcott today has been trying that rail with some success, has got up in 3rd place in a couple races with some long shots on the board. Expect the same thing to happen with the 8-1 morning line shot, a little bit gangster. In the 13th, yes, I'm touting a horse finishing 4th. If you don't know me, this is average. This is an average Sunday, not just a King's Plate
typical
Sunday.
Typical Sunday with JD. All right, so there's the horse right there, Golden Canary. We just saw JD give it out to you live here at 7-1. Money to be made, and it was. We've got a couple more opportunities to make money, including the King's Plate, which is 2 races away. The next race is the Dan Smartly. That'll be race 9 here. We'll take a look at the payouts momentarily. But JD, go refresh, go have a celebratory drink, and come back, and we'll have you on to talk King's Plate in a bit.
I can afford that drink now, Dan.
No, I think you were good. I think you were good either way. All right, so JD making it happen here. Next up is another one of our good friends who, we got people, really it's sort of an American invasion out here with the handicappers and the fashion and lifestyle. So everybody's here in Canada this weekend for the King's Plate, including, again, one of our good friends here, Pete Fornatal, joining us on the 5th floor overlooking the finish line at Woodbine on this King's Plate 2023. JD Fox had this one. Did you have this one?
I did not. I will be honest, I did not. It was a nice one to have. I could see it after the race. Well-bred, second out improvement, open-looking race. I wasn't clever enough, though.
Well, it's good because we got your miss out of the way, and now you're going to hit. We've got a couple of races coming up. Obviously, the King's Plate, the big one, the Dan Smartly, which we didn't prepare you to talk about the Dan Smartly, so we don't have to.
Oh, I've looked at it all if you want, but I'm just loving being here, being able to soak up this proper atmosphere. I've been doing my Sky Sports TV shift, and for Wi-Fi reasons, I've been a little, cloistered away. But this is a party out here.
It is. The music is still bumping in the background. You've got the pocket square. This is one of the most immaculately designed pocket squares. Pete is a stylish man. I see the tie-in with the red all throughout.
I actually, this is not the form study that I'm known for, but we'll do a little shopping. So I was in the Bellwoods Trinity area, and I found a very hip bartender who told me when I said, I need a tie to go with this. She sent me to, there's 1,000 vintage stores down there. She sent me to the exact right one. And sure enough, I see this vintage Dior number that pulled in the 3 colors. I was like, yes.
A way to name drop a designer. He's got Dior around the neck. What about you, Dan? Next thing we know,
back to horse racing.
Who knows? And if you hit a couple more today, you can go back to the antique shop, get a little, pocket, one of those golden.
A little watch and a chain, maybe a monocle.
Monocle, I think, would look nice on you, Pete.
One of the 300 people you paid to tune into this stream has just commented, Mr. Pete Fornatel, you are the hardest working man.
Not true at all. Not true at all. But we do our part. We do our part.
True it is. He's everywhere, and you've been in the grind. You've been in the hustle for a long time in this game, man. For the people who, we've had you on, and they know where to find you, but how did this all start for you? How did you get into this madness?
Into racing at all was just as a fan, like so many of us. I used to work for the book publisher Simon & Schuster, and we were across the street from an OTB. And a year that won't be named that happened a very long time ago, Kentucky Derby, we decided, you know what, let's go. We didn't really know much. My friends and I didn't really know that much about horse racing, but we love sports. We were like, it's the Kentucky Derby, let's have a bet. And one bet turned into a trip to the Belmont 5 weeks later, and cashing a bet, and then discovering Saratoga. And then it was one of those things where, as a racing fan, and this has happened to a lot of people in the industry, you say to yourself, how can I come here more? What can I do to get to the track more? And then you start, in addition, to trying to work on your gambling, also, in my case, writing and doing TV stuff. So it just sort of snowballed from there to the point where, in addition to this TV work I do internationally for Sky Racing, Sky Sports Racing, I have the In the Money Media Network, a podcast-driven company, which also has a newsletter and a YouTube channel and a website with lots of free analysis and whatnot. And it's been just a ton of fun to be involved. But I always enjoy my appearances with you guys, because they often happen at racing's biggest events, and the King's Plate's certainly one of those.
We've been following you, and obviously the serious horse players all know you because they follow you for all the content, whether it be contests, whether it be big race days, so forth and so on. So now that they're tuned in to watch you, you said you're ready for the Dan Smartly or whatever the hell we throw at you.
Yes.
So why don't we take a look at the Dan Smartly real quickly though? We'll give you a second here. I would take a look at some of these payouts here. Golden Canary again. Shout out to JD Fox, $17 winner. Picked it cold. $2 exact at $91. The trifecta for $1, $161. And If you started pick 3s or a pick 6 there, which we actually did, I'm surprised he still left his this ticket in my hand with as cold as I've been. But I've got it, and we've got that one to kick off the pick 6. Let's hope we keep that rolling. Those are your payouts, and you've got a little replay going here. And we're getting a look at the first odds here. The 1 in 6 scratch, as you can see on the bottom of your screen. The 1 was it hoity-toity, right? Super hoity-toity.
Super hoity-toity is out, yep.
And then the 6, another interesting one, Il Malocchio scratch. So that leaves us with a field of 7, your favorite opening up. No surprise, the one and only Moira. Do we get around Moira, or is it her race?
She's one of my favorites. I love her. I wasn't going to bet her today.
You don't want to get kicked out of Canada,
yeah,
right?
Well,
So
exactly,
like
exactly.
Okay.
And she was, the big choice in this race last year who did so well, and I admire her. But sometimes you have to separate your racing fan hat from your gambling hat. And for me, that was what I was going to attempt to do here. I had more of a logical one, and then I had a wild one. My logical one is the number 7, Salima. This runner coming here with some back class, second off a layoff. Fits like a glove to me in this spot, and I think a representative effort from her will go very close. But I'm not ruling out a crazy long shot. Might be the biggest price in the field, the number 4, Ephrata.
Oh, it is, the longest price.
This horse actually has a really nice Juddmonte pedigree, and her recent work has been done on the synthetic at lower levels. But she's 4 years old, 3rd race of the year, getting back onto what's bred to be her best surface. I think she can come running and get a piece of this. So I'll probably mess around with her, Moira, and Salima in some trifectas. And in terms of the biggest bet I'm going to make here, I'm going to play doubles with the 4 and the 7 into Kalik, who I really do like in the next one. I don't know if we're doing a full discussion of the play. But
Yeah, we have to get into that.
Roll
because
it all together.
The consensus up until now has been like, we don't want Kalik. We don't want that at a short price.
Well, I get it. When you're 3-1 in a 17-horse field, that's a short price. But this is a horse. Sometimes I do this, right or wrong, but it often serves me. It served me better than it has worse in my life. When I see something in a horse at any point in their career, and I think of a future target for them, I try to stick with that in the face of everything else. Yep. And Kalik is one who, we do a lot of work in the Money Media Network with Woodbine. So really start to look at the King's Plate, even now, looking at 2-year-olds that run well, say, hey, maybe that's one for the King's Plate. We did that with Kalik a little bit last year. So when you've been thinking about the horse for the spot for a year, it makes it much more palatable to look at the 3-1 in a 17-horse field. And again, I'm trying to juice that up a little bit by getting alive by being a little bit of a wise guy, hopefully in the good way, in the doubles to Kalik. So that is my thought process on this runner, one who I think has excellent form. Look, I really wouldn't want to be betting win at anything less than 3-1, but I think in this double, the horse makes sense. Then when it gets to the plate itself, we can reevaluate. We'll see where we are.
I'm shutting up, Rachel.
You don't look convinced at all.
I'm taking it all in, see, because the problem with my handicapping is that I'm very easily swayed. So when I'm sandwiched between people that know what they're doing, or at least are confident in what they're doing.
Or probably a better description, the latter.
Specifically, as he deposits more money into his account. I'm easily swayed because
I'm putting more money in right now.
Because everybody tells a compelling story, and that's, I think, what most handicappers can commiserate on, is everyone is so, confident with such conviction. And then, like you mentioned with the last race, looking back in hindsight, I can see how that panned out the way that it did. So it's tough for me because I'm caught in between. Dan has always different opinions than literally everybody else that comes on.
That's a good thing in this game.
And I love that. And
I've noticed the day, like there are days when I go home, I'm sure you have them too, you're in bed, your body's sore, you've been walking around all day, and you're scrolling through Twitter or X, and you're like, oh wow, everybody had a shitty day. This was one of the best betting days I've had, like that's what I've noticed. And like when people are like, boom, bang, I hit this, I hit that, I'm like, I didn't hit anything.
Doom scrolling turns into something else for you.
Exactly. So, but don't sell yourself short. First of all, her mom is in the chat, and she's picked, I think, 17 straight winners.
That's impressive.
Until she landed on the same horse I did last race.
Yeah.
And then it was over.
By the way, Roberto was a firm believer in too.
Yeah.
and these things happen, especially with those young horses. I would hope that we don't have as big of a surprise and upset with this field in the 9th race.
Moira.
I mean, I think that Moira is great. It's a favorite at this track.
Yeah.
And I think that in a certain way that does play into performance to a certain extent. You know, horses that have that energy behind them or have performed and proven themselves well somewhere, it counts for something, in my opinion.
I'll say this. Moira is the kind of horse that even if I'm ripping up tickets, I'm clapping back enthusiastically to the winner's circle. It's so great. We don't get it that much in flat racing over here, or flat racing really anywhere in the world, but when you can have horses who come back year after year and make an impact and can really develop a connection with fans, that's something Moira's been able to achieve. And believe me, I'll be thrilled. It'll be everything but the wallet type of a situation if she can get the job done. And I also have no problem with somebody who wants to bet on that story and be part of that action and participate in it financially. So there'd be no shame for me if your dollars do end up going that way.
Okay.
Annette wasting no time, by the way. She's like, I don't need to see these horses. I don't need to hear any more.
Exactly.
She's going 5'8". She's going Moira and Justify My Love.
Okay. A Brazilian number.
Another good musical name today. Lots of good musical names out there.
Yeah. Oh my God.
I think if I'm.
We don't want to get into this. I will say, let's do this. We got to talk about some more of these plate runners. I feel like, we've hit the obvious ones. We've talked about Kalik. We've talked about some of the outsiders that we like. Calco Kaipu for Rachel. I like, and I liked Wickenheiser all along. I'm just a little worried about the way this track is playing. But I want to take a look back at a horse who figures to love the way the track is playing right now. And it's a horse named Paramount Prince. This is what he did in the plate trial stakes.
And Forest Buzz joining Paramount Prince, and then Simcoe, Velocitor, Cool Kiss, and Philip My Dear starting to run on. Paramount Prince dashed right away, and it is Patrick Husbands, and Paramount Prince has absolutely blitzed them. Paramount Prince, head on the chest, has absolutely canted in to win the plate trial by 4.5 lengths to Cool Kiss, and Twin City got third.
All right, so that was Paramount Prince. We just took a look at getting to the front in the plate trial stakes and then running away from them. What do we think? I've gone back and forth on this. El Cojete for me was a horse who had some speed, who we initially thought was going to run, is not running. That meant that there were only 2 or 3 horses that potentially could go with Paramount Prince. I mean, do you think anyone's fast enough?
I think there might be horses who are fast enough, but I don't know if that's the tactics they're going to choose going the 1.25 miles. So if you can build up enough of a head of steam on your front runner, those could be winning tactics. But for me, this is a case of in Kimura we trust. He's so good, and I think he'll have Kalik positioned just off the pace. We'll see. Looking at pace figures, a runner like the 15 could also go out there from that wide draw. Sometimes with these big full fields, the front runners are just a little bit compromised because other horses, whether they're drawn severely inside or outside, make more of a pace. That's why I like where Kimura is on Kalik, to be able to break, not lose too much ground, but not get bogged down, and just find that spot and get into that easy beat and hopefully decide when to make the winning run.
Put a smile on Rachel's face when you said 15.
And again, it just obviously this Woodbine track and the way that it plays is a little bit different to things in the States. Do you think that, I've also heard people talking about Stanley House, obviously Javier Castellano trying to capture everything in the world this year. Do you think that that's really a factor? Because here you are backing Kimura all day, every day. He's obviously a prolific rider here at Woodbine, big fan favorite, and he's been finding a lot of success today. How big of a factor is that for you?
I look at jockeys. They're very important. I'm not meaning to say they're not important, but a lot of the time, the market does a really good job of building the extra credit that riders should get into the price. So when I get really excited about riders is when I think they have a special skill that contributes to the way I'm designing the race in my head. And that's why I like Kimura so much on Kalik, because I really don't see any scenario where he just gets into a speed duel and gets cooked. I also don't see him getting too far back. I think he's going to be able to find position and just use that internal timing to deliver the run at the right time, which is going to be the key. Castellano's amazing, but boy, it's tricky down from the inside no matter who you are when you're dealing with this giant field of 16 others outside you who are going to be able to come down. You know, he could have the ghost of Eddie Arcaro riding with him, and it would still be a tricky trip.
Castellano, obviously an avid viewer of America's Best Racing streams, is probably going to say, "Hold my beer," right? Like we're going to.
I wouldn't be surprised if anybody's going to do it. It might well be him.
I mean,
from a gambling
talk about a
point of
renaissance,
view,
right? I mean,
it's just been amazing to watch,
Yeah.
and it's so great to see somebody whose career I've followed from jump be able to put on this, imperial run at this stage of his career.
Yeah, no, and he's also like a sweet man. Like sweet is
Wonderful
the only way to
family,
describe
yeah.
it. Like
these are good people.
See him, you get to know him, you just want to give him a big hug. He's a very sweet man. And to your point about, I can't see a scenario in which Kalik, either, with Kimura does one of two things that would be detrimental, which would be going too fast or falling too far back. You got to figure there's going to be one or two horses in here and one or two riders who are going to be like, screw it, we're going, right? I mean, there's 17 of them. There's going to be one or two who are going to be like, meh, forget that plan, we're going.
You would think so. You see in the Kentucky Derby, weirdly, some years where you think they're going to go and they don't. And that's sometimes due to the fact, I think, that they're worried about their horse's stamina. The idea of going the 1.25 miles Kentucky Derby, same distance as the King's Plate. So it can work both ways, but I tend to think you're right. There's runners in here who really don't have a lot of choice but to show what speed they have just to try to get out of that jackpot when they pop from the gates here in just about an hour's time.
Yep. So we're coming up to it. You've been super generous with your time. The man behind you, we should probably tag in as we assigned him this race. He's going to come on and give us more analysis. But Pete Forney, thank you for spending a few minutes with us.
This was such great fun. And anytime you need me, if you're hard up for a guest, you know who to call.
Stop it.
Thanks, Pete.
Always a pleasure. And we're lucky to have Pete take a few minutes with us here on ABR Live from Woodbine on this King's Plate Day 2023. Pete, you can go that. Thank you so much, brother. We appreciate you. Thank you. Mr. Starr, it is your time to shine. As Ellis Starr will be coming through here shortly to talk about the Dan Smartly. We told you that we didn't put his ticket up, his Pick 6 ticket up in time until very late, and that's good. So because unfortunately you had the horse who finished second in that race, but behind JD's horse who finished first. But now you could take us through pretty much this next race, which I think you've got a bit of confidence in, right? I mean, we had a couple of scratches, but you're feeling good about the Dan Smartly here. So where did you land?
Well, my top pick's the 5, Justify My Love. This is a horse that shipped out of Indiana Grand, Horseshoe, Indiana, I should say now. Off a big effort in the Indiana, I forget what it's called, the General
Gaming
Assembly.
Commission or something,
General Assembly Distaff Handicap Black Type.
I was like, what is that?
It's a huge
Everyone
name.
knows that. I mean, it's like the Derby, the Preakness, and then the Indiana General Assembly.
Right, yeah.
It's the only logical.
And, Shelbyville, Indiana to Toronto, Ontario, Canada. That's the move, right? That's it. That's why you ship and win. But Paulo Lobo got this horse. Last year was funny because in her third start, she won an allowance race at Churchill very impressively as a 2-1 favorite. And then she came back, and after a couple months off, they thought she was good enough to run in the the Pegasus World Cup turf for fillies, which is a big race. And she didn't run a lick. She was beaten 15 lengths. And then came back and 7th, and then 2nd and 1st. She's improving on a pattern, really nice. Adam Bitskitz, unfortunately, I believe it was Adam that was on the horse that just got beat the 5 horse in the last race. So maybe he wants some revenge here. Currently a decent price at 6-1. The other contenders in the race are the 9, Miss Dracaris, 9-2. Also a good price for me because this is a filly that when she shows up, she's pretty good. She's 4 for 12. She's 2 for 3 of the distance. It's interesting that she hasn't been seen since November. But Neil Drysdale, who I don't know if he's in the Hall of Fame, but man, a good conditioner. I mean, he trained AP Indy. Let's just talk about that for a second. So that's how good Neil Drysdale is. Mr. Karras has been off since November, going 1 mile 16th. Drysdale, again, throwing in a Stats Raceland stat. Neil Drysdale, the last 3 years with horses off 6 months or more going in a turf route, it's 5 for 25, and 2 of those were grade 3 stakes. Wow. One was a mile, the Wilshire, in Southern California. Other was the 1 3/4 San Juan Capistrano at Santa Anita.
Okay.
So he can really get this horse ready. And if the race that the last 2 races she ran last October, November, which were both wins, including a stakes, she won a 100,000 stake just like Justify My Love did. If that race was recent, she wouldn't be 9-2 now. She might be much closer to 2-1 or so. And then there's really no knocks on the 7th, Salima or Moira. I think everybody needs to use them on trifectas, exactas, pick 3s, pick 4s, pick 5 now. But I don't like the low odds on it. Moira shows up sometimes. Certainly the horse that beat her, Fev Rover, in the Nassau here at Woodbine, came back to win the Beverly D, and that's a classy, classy filly. Of course, Moira's best known for winning the Queen's Plate. But I don't know that she's as good as anybody else in here. Queen's Plate is one thing on the all-weather. This is turf. And then Salima is another horse coming off a win at Saratoga for Chad Brown. And her recent workout on August 12th at Saratoga was in company with Kalick, who is one of the favorites in the King's Plate.
If there was going to be one race that I thought Chad Brown would win, I thought it was this one. So I'm on Salima here. Open to something different happening. And if you like a long shot, Allie, who's already been a hero of this show by sending us some wonderful guests, chimed in with take a look maybe at Ready Lady, the 3-horse. Take a look at the lineage there. Allie knows the Roger Atfield barn very well as someone who worked for the Atfield barn for a very long time. Emma Jane Wilson up here. Emma Jane and Roger have had quite the history together. So there's a 20-1 shot. We like long shots here. And then Richard back in the chat with comment on Neil Drysdale on the horse on the outside that we talked about, Mr. Karis, who is going to be on the front, is going to be on the lead. As we've seen race after race after race the past 2 days, that's where you want to be. So, look, common sense tells you 9-2 on Mr. Karis is value if you're just playing the track. My only concern with that one is that it's first race in a long time. Does she get a little tired late, even though the track might hold her up a little bit more than it might normally?
She went off a 4-month layoff last year from June to October.
Yep.
And folks don't have to remember on the E.P. Taylor course, this mile and 16th is a 1-turn trip. So she doesn't have to worry about the problems you'd normally have braking in a 2-turn race in the grandstand and having to take that first turn. She's got like half a mile to just relax and get the lead. If she doesn't, she's not going to be in any traffic trouble out there. And Javier Castellano should be able to get her into a great position first. She did come from off the pace, by the way, one time in her career, back in the summer of 21 at Monmouth from 3rd. So I think she's a little versatile if she needs to be.
Rachel, I see you shifting the weight from leg to leg. I see you doing the arm exercise, so Mom knows you're.
I'm doing my physical therapy. Don't worry about it.
We're doing the exercise.
Yeah, I think that Mr. Karis, I had to double check. Game of Thrones fans, that means fire. That's what Daenerys says to the dragons to get them to breathe fire and light it up. So Mr. Karis, I think, might be burning it up on the turf course a little bit, you guys. I like that, and I would say that kind of my random long pick is the 3, Ready Lady. Do I have much substance to back that up? No.
Well, you have Allie's post about the bloodlines and the connection to a lot of big horses.
Yeah, that's the leg that I'm standing on, really. So, Allie, you and me, we're going to be back in the 3.
So Mr. Dracarys means fire or something to do with fire? Forgive me for not knowing.
Dracarys in whatever Targaryen language that is.
So can we call her Dragon Lady?
I think that works. Yeah, Dragon Lady. Daenerys, may she rest in peace. Most disappointing ending to a show ever. I can't reference that character or show. And
were you angry at Dexter? A lot of people were angry at the Dexter ending.
Dexter is a show that I never actually watched all the way through.
I like Dexter. It's good. I mean, it's a little creepy that I like Dexter. Show with like a lot of
I get some good ideas from
Dexter. That's okay.
Ellis has left the set, has left the building.
I got to get in a quick bet. So as they're entering here, last thoughts from you guys. We're going to take this one off the screen. We can move the other one back on.
Well, Salima and Moira certainly can run well. Odds 9-5 and 3-2 are not good for betting. Win definitely exotics. I'm rooting for Justify Love and Mr. Karras, who, as Dan said, and I agree, Mr. Karras may have a lonely lead a few yards out of the gate.
I can't see the 9 being out of the money, so I'm going to do an exact with the 9, because I just can't imagine any scenario where the 9 doesn't finish at least second. So, Rachel, you're back okay? We need to take a little break?
It's tough carrying the weight of the team.
Oh!
Absolutely not. That is you all day.
Stop it. Stop it. All right, we're going to send you off to Robert Geller and the Dance Smartly.
Off their race, Starter got them out in a perfect line. Miss Dracary's bore out a bit, but is in front from the outside and shot out by a couple of lengths, make it 3 or 4 lengths. Salima in second. Lying in third is Moira, and coming up is the grey, Justify My Love. On the hedge is Ready Lady. A length and a half Ephrata back second last, and the early trailer is Whimsical Dance. Out in front it is Miss Dracary's, getting closer towards the inside. With on the inner is Salima. The shippers out in front here by 3 lengths to Justify My Love on the inside, with Moira now shading. A length away came Ready Lady, Ephrata the outside, and 3 lengths away last is Whimsical Dance. Javier Castellano clears now to go to the inside and leads a length on Miss Dracary's. Up in second spot is Salima. Justify My Love is third. The pace is not too hurried. Moira is poised on the outside and starts to edge up. 2 lengths away came Ready Lady. Over on the outside is Ephrata, and last of all is Whimsical Dance. Only about 5 lengths covers the field as they reach the half mile in the Dance Smartly Stakes, and it's Miss Dracary's a length in front. Salima second. Here comes Moira coming up on the outside in third. Justify My Love saving every inch of ground, but trying to stay with the top trio at the moment. A length away came Ready Lady. Ephrata takes off, and last of all is Whimsical Dance. They turn up the engine now. They go into the home stretch in the Dance Smartly, 3 abreast. Miss Dracary's, Salima and Moira, a clear shot for the lead, joining Miss Dracary's. Miss Dracary's and Moira the outside. Then Justify My Love. Running on a bit is Ready Lady and Ephrata, but Miss Dracary's guided nicely here by Javier Castellano, is still a length and a half in front of Moira. Moira's coming now. Miss Dracary's on the inside. Moira drifting a bit, and Miss Dracary's flat up against the rail is a fantastic winner of the Dance Smartly. Miss Dracary's by a length and 3/4 to Moira. 3.5 to Ready Lady, narrowly third from Justify My Love, Ephrata. And back second last, Whimsical Dance, and last, Salima.
About that, Javier Castellano getting to the front. Mr. Karras, who we talked about very logically with the way this track is playing, you want to be on the front. That's where she went, and she took him at 4-1. We knew that it was a clear battle, and we knew that Moira maybe being a little pace compromised, maybe being a little distance compromised here, this wouldn't be the day. So an opportunity to make some money, and I think we were roughly on it. Unfortunately, this pick, I don't know where JD is, but this pick 6 ticket that we played is now dead. I told him, but this would have made the ticket a lot more money. We should use the 9 because that scenario was always out there. Anyway, we've got a new guest here, Sean Patrick Nolan, Twitter celebrity, superstar. We got to hang out last night a little bit. Sean, welcome back to Canada.
Thank you, sir. So great to be here. It's an awesome day.
Awesome. Well, you've been able to navigate Twitter, and Ellis is just leaving us. He's like, I'm done. Ellis is gone.
Ellis,
all right,
I'll shower next time, Ellis.
Signing off.
We're giving Rachel a break.
Okay, I'll stay after you.
Like, I don't want to hear anything more about Sean.
We got a long time.
No, but you, with Twitter being as crazy as it is, and all the anger and the hatred and all the rest of it, you've kept racing Twitter positive over the years. How have you done it?
I just think everybody in the industry works together. We're all part of one piece, not just one individual and everything. And the people that work so hard in this industry every day deserve the support, whether it's jockeys, trainers, owners, race announcers, everybody. We're all part of one team, and that's really always the way I've looked at it. Growing up with the Bruins and the Celtics, it was always team first. Everybody works as a unit, and I see no different in horse racing. That's always the way I've tried to approach it.
How do we get you to evangelize to the other people on Twitter to do that?
It's a tough task. It's not easy. You have to sometimes pick your battles, but I try to avoid that stuff as much as I can.
All right, and I know you're a big fan of the good story. You always want to see a good story. I'm sure you were a little disappointed there to see Moira come up short.
Yes, yeah, she's a wonderful story. Amazing job last year in the Queen's Plate. She always tries every time she shows up, but just came a little short. And Javier, give him credit. That was a heck of a ride out front.
Yeah, really was a good ride. Ellis, do you want to? I mean, you could celebrate here. I mean, you were
Well, I don't know when the mic went back on, but I was yelling mage, 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 because it was mage.
Get to the wire.
Get to the wire already, mage.
Yeah.
This is what it was. No, but it was a brilliant ride. I mean, that's the advantage of the mile 16th at the E.P. Taylor Outer course is there's such a long run of a speed horse. What's interesting is your horse Salima, kind of tried to press. And I thought maybe that would have taken the sting out of Mr. Karst, like you said, off that big layoff. But it didn't seem to happen. She rebroke on Salima, who actually that middle move kind of cost Salima. Yep. And Mara runs a good race every time. I don't know. I don't think she's good on turf. Last time out, she did the same kind of thing. And certainly, oh, by the way, the long shot pick, Rachel Nally's Ready Lady at 15-1 got third.
A really nice race there.
It was
absolutely.
Our nice race. We missed the opportunity.
Yep. Tell us how you're seeing this King's Plate shaping up here.
Okay, I'm on Wickenheiser. Okay. I just think she's a big filly. She closed so stoutly in the Woodbine Oaks. She's a big filly. I think Kevin's had a heck of a time getting her from race to race to race, but she's finally healthy, and I think that she's ready. This is going to be her day to shine.
Are you worried about how the track is playing and not many horses are closing? Because I am, and I like Wickenheiser too.
I hope for her sake, I think Rafi does the same move that she kind of did with Moira last year, where she was kind of sitting that stalking fourth, fifth, and around the turn, made the big move, because I think that's where she's going to have to make up her. If she makes the ground up that she did last time, she may come up short. But if he makes that big move around the far turn, she'll be right there.
Right there. All right. Well, I hope so too, because that's where I'm at. You mentioned the big move in the Woodbine Oaks.
Yep.
And I want to take a look back at that. Let's take a look at the stretch run of the Woodbine Oaks.
And as they come for the home stretch, Tito's calling third, then Fashionably Fab and Elysian Field down the outside. Wickenheiser running on with Big Brass Bed. Ticker Tape Home raced out too, but Elysian Field is coming. Elysian Field on the outside, the stablemate, and has run to the front. Wickenheiser down the outside and Big Brass Bed. Elysian Field in front. Out wider, Wickenheiser. Elysian Field clear. Wickenheiser now the centre. Drifting, but Elysian Field. Sahin Savachi wins the Woodbine Oaks, 2.5 lengths. Wickenheiser second.
All right, Ellis, before he left, just said, don't give JD any gruff for leaving the 9 off the ticket. It was one of those passing comments I made, and it would have, it would have increased the size of our ticket by $115. So it is what it is. That was one scenario. And you were right about another scenario.
Yes.
And there's no way to cover all bases. We have to make.
Do you want to know what I did as soon as the 9 wired the field?
You're like,
I went and punched a ticket for Dan for the King's Plate. I want Dan to look at that ticket.
Look at that.
Oh my God, dude!
That's my mea culpa.
Look at that.
Well, first of all, I'm paying you back for this, but let's get in on this. Let's, without trying to capture my fingernails because those are nasty. If you can see that.
That's Dan's top pick.
30 across on Enjoy the Silent.
Yes.
Now, Sean, I know you're a big 80s music fan.
Yes.
Depeche Mode was
Depeche
obviously
Mode,
central.
absolutely. Yes, to your life. Absolutely.
No, to your life.
And my life, too.
What do you mean?
Absolutely.
Not just.
I know, but you were the biggest Depeche fan I know.
Oh,
so,
how about this song? You remember this one?
Yes, absolutely. Fantastic.
Tell me how does it feel, right?
Absolutely.
Sing it, baby. Sing it.
I would. Exactly.
Thank you. Thank you, Sean.
I want to keep the audience.
Appreciate that.
Yeah, well, the audience is here. They're sticking around because the King's Plate is coming up in about 25 minutes, so hang with us. But no, back to Depeche Mode. No, I'm kidding. We're not going to have to do that. JD, Ellis stepped out for a minute, but want to talk to you about your play, and we'll bring Ellis back in to talk plate a little bit more. We have the video queued up if you want to talk about the horse. You have an eye on typically with the Derby, right? You want a horse who's had some experience. You're picking a horse who has the least amount of experience of any in here. Tell me how you landed on this one.
Yeah, really, I think, Touch and Ride kind of fits the bill as a wise guy horse, and I like to be a wise guy. But really coming in, third start here, we're looking at the maiden win, and really this is at the top of the stretch here. We're going to see Jose Campos just really go to work and then realize that he's going to win by a mile and he's going to cool off on the horse. But, Touch and Ride, really strong effort here. And really I think the race before was also flattered by just how well Legislator ran in Southern California. But you see here, Jose stopped riding, and I mean, that could have been a big. That is the biggest buyer race in the field. 91 buyer on that race, highest number of anybody in the field. So definitely a wise guy horse. That was, still has to stretch out. Started at 1 mile and 40 yards, moved there to 1 mile and a 16th, and obviously now has to get the Queen's Plate distance. But if you guys didn't see it, this horse finished behind Legislator in the debut. Legislator last weekend was the Sunday DQ at Del Mar. TJ Pereira
a personal
had so
story.
much horse and either was going to clip heels or run over half the field, or sideways, and sideways is much safer. So he got DQ'd there, but that horse was much the best in that race. That was a full. I know it was allowance optional claiming race at Del Mar, but no one was in for the tag. It was a full allowance race. It was a strong performance there, and it really flatters the form of Touch and Ride, who will get a look at the board here soon to see. I did see before the last race some live odds, and I believe, Dan, your horse was 73-1 in the early wagering, so we'll see.
So 30 across will get me even, hopefully.
Wonderful.
I mean,
awesome.
In theory.
Awesome.
Everything's a theory, right, Dan?
Yeah, exactly. In theory.
Okay, we're at 78-1 right now as we get our first look at the odds.
Yeah.
And the 11 Touch and Ride off the 12-1 morning line sitting at 8-1. I saw this and was talking to Ellis about it earlier. Kalik was 4-1 early on in betting, is 7-2 right now. Very lukewarm favorite in the 2023 Kings Plate.
Our first live look at the entire board. You see it right there. The one, Stanley House, was a horse we've talked about, was the favorite when last seen. Disappointed there, but is now 7-1. Very good odds if you think the horse can overcome the rail draw with Javier Castellano, we just saw a moment ago in the winner's circle. The 2-horse, Elysian Field, your Woodbine Oaks winner, 8-1 morning line now, 5-1. Philip My Dear, 32-1. You've got the 4-horse Twin City, always shows up, 25-1. The 5, More Statues. That's another one I've got to figure out the story with. That name at least, 59-1. The 6, Kalik, 7-2, so up from the morning line of 3-1. The 7, Velocitor, another one's been running in this company and has a little bit of speed. 60-1, 59-1. The 8, Wickenheiser, a horse I like, Sean likes, 12-1 down to 7-1. The 9, Silent Miracle, 34-1. The 10, Midnight in Malibu, 38-1. Touch and Ride, the horse we just talked about, 12-1 down to 8-1 with that last out big buyer speed figure. The 12, Cool Kiss, 30-1 up to 41-1. This horse I love. The track's playing fair and there's a lot of pace. Cool Kiss is a horse who's always going to close into the money. The 13, Paramount Prince, who stands the best shot of wiring this field at this point, is 5-1 down from that 10-1 morning line. So that's bettors realizing that Paramount Prince is the main speed horse on a track which over 2 days has produced a lot of speed, front-running winners. So Paramount Prince is your second choice here at 5-1. The 14, Two-Way Crossing, is 63-1. We saw him in the replay there a moment ago. 15, Calco Kaipu, Rachel's top pick, is 13-1. So still nice price on that one. The 17, 15-1 is Moon Landing. The 18, all I ever wanted, all I ever needed was 76-1 to get even on this long, wonderful weekend here at Woodbine. Enjoy the silent. Rounds out your field. SPN?
Yes.
How do you bet this race?
Okay, and to piggyback, by the way, just quick on JD's comments, a lot of the local people think the Chiefswood's horse that he is picking, Touch and Ride, is definitely the one of the horses definitely to watch out, so I would definitely use him. I'm using the 1 with the 13. That's Erica Rusnick. If she bred this horse, that's going to be very popular up here. If she would win,
you're always going for the good story. I knew it.
Exactly. So I'm 1, 13, 15, and of course our girl with the where is she? I'm losing her. Wickenheiser. Yep. So I'm 1, 8, 10, and 13.
All right. The chat here is live with some picks here too. Elysian Field. We've got the 10 here. Midnight in Malibu. That's a brave pick at 40-1, but we need to get brave here. This is the opportunity to make some money. So big field. Take your shot here. Let us know in the chat who you're betting here, who you like in this race. Allie, you're on fire. Allie, alert Allie. Let us know who you like here because you've been hot throughout. I get the feeling I kind of know who she might land on here.
Yeah, I have a funny feeling, Allie.
Funny feeling.
You might like Zach. I don't know. Just maybe Roger Maybe. Is that maybe?
Maybe.
She's the best.
Yeah, she is.
She is the best.
So, Sean, we're going to let you get back down so you can enjoy this race.
Thank you so much.
Real quick, if anyone isn't already following you on
How is that
X,
possible, Dan?
I don't know how it's not possible. But if people aren't following you on Twitter/X, how do they find you?
Spin Nation, that's SPN Nation 74 at Twitter and also on Instagram. So anyone who follows me, love to have you. So glad for everyone that does. And thank you guys for having me on. Such a pleasure.
I thought for a second this was a little bit of luck of the Irish. That's not. That's
That
not
is
a
a
clover
Catherine
leaf.
Day Phillips hat.
It's not a clover leaf.
No. It's a Catherine Day Phillips hat. So I've been supporting her today. She's got one left in the 12th. So hopefully she can win with an Oscar performance, baby.
Oscar.
So, there
yep.
you go.
Yep.
So,
All right.
wonderful.
Oh wait. Allie says no one going for Atfield to break the record.
Allie, I will bet it just for you because she's the best, and I'm putting 2 across just because Allie likes it.
There you go. And that would be a 9th. Is that right? A 9th Queen
Yes,
/ King's
he
Plate?
is truly amazing. The ageless wonder.
And that's the 14 horse two-way crossing currently 63 to 1. All right, cool. SPN, we'll let you do your thing. Thank you, brother, for stopping by.
Have a wonderful.
Thank you, brother. Let's bring in this guy right here behind you. Andy, jump on in. Andy McNamara here, a guy who I met not too long ago. What's up, Andy? How you doing?
Good. I found my way up here. It is it is dicey, but I made it.
You didn't break a sweat, so that's good. Andy, you're working on a really cool thing here based out of Woodbine called Railbirds. I'll let you explain it. What's Railbirds all about?
Yeah, well, and thank you, Dan. You've been doing an awesome job with us on the Railbird side as well. And really, it's about how to bring horse racing and horse betting to the sports fan that might not be as into the sport or know as much about it. Maybe they like the Kentucky Derby, but they need it simplified a little bit. So we try to talk to the football fan, hockey fan, baseball fan, whatever, and say, here's some straightforward information to help you enjoy the sport and make some bets along the way.
Yeah, I saw you down there today. You got a little, like a pop-up and activation. What's going on down there?
Yeah, well, we're bribing people to follow us on social media. Say, we follow us, you get a hat.
So good deal.
We got the hat. We're telling people about it, and it's been really cool because we've had people who are there like, yeah, this is my first time in the track in 5 years, and they've said, okay, look, we show them the Railbird site, and it's helped them, and they understand. I don't know if they're winning, but they at least can understand what's going on.
You got to start somewhere, right?
Yeah.
It's all about education, so it's really cool. JD, I don't know if you have any questions or thoughts, but
I think as we're trying to grow the game, obviously education's the first thing, and I know there's kind of a fun aspect to it as well with some of the videos and some of the personalities you're getting involved
Right.
with.
Yeah, absolutely. And so that's really what we're trying to do: make it approachable, make it fun, put some of the funny, memes or comments and supercomputer picks versus the experts and things like that. So it's been a lot of fun so far, and we're just getting started.
And your background's interesting yourself. I mean, you come from a sports and sports betting background, right? Tell us more about that.
Yeah, absolutely. So sports broadcasting, sports betting, fantasy sports in Canada and the U.S., all over. So I'm coming to this in the same sense that we're trying to reach the fans, where I don't necessarily know all the super detailed.
You're learning with the person that you're trying to reach,
Right, and learning the info and learning from experts like yourself and being able to say, okay, well, when I'm researching these races, what do I need to know? And then how can I communicate that in a straightforward way to somebody who, again, might only watch racing once in a while? And because as we know, once you understand, you fall in love with this sport real quick.
I know that it's intimidating for a lot of people, right? I mean, because let's face it, it's not the sort of thing. It's like, hey, family, let's gather around the table at 8 o'clock and watch a horse race replay, right?
Yeah.
But you would do that for a baseball game or a hockey game, whatever it might be. So because it's not as ingrained in our sort of family cultural life, there is a big educational curve. So if people want to find you guys, where do they find the content? How can they learn more?
Yeah, well, it's real simple. It's just myrailbirds.com and on all social media at myrailbirds.
Awesome. All right, well, I know you've already kind of hedged a little by saying, hey, I'm learning too, but we need your King's Plate pick.
Okay.
So
now look, from everything I put, this is an all-star cast, but there's still not necessarily a runaway favorite. So what I'm saying is, sometimes the favorite is a favorite for a reason. So I'm going with horse 6. I love Kimura, the jockey. He's been the top rider here. So I'm going to say Jockey Power with Kimura, home field advantage. And let's see what happens. But really, I think this is just a stud cast all around.
It really is. Right now, as you mentioned, the 6, we just put the odds back up on the board. Kalik is 7-2, so that is your favorite, holding strong. The 13, Paramount Prince. This is the one thing, and I wonder from your perspective, like in terms of like trying to teach, sort of newbies, how handicapping, how you might want to approach it. The one thing I always talk about is pace. It's difficult, like sort of conceptually to understand at first. It's like, oh, that sounds boring. But like when you think about it, if a horse is alone on the lead, they're the only speed horse and no one's pressuring them, they're going to do better, right?
Right.
That's simple. In this race, there doesn't seem to be like any other horse who can go as fast as Paramount Prince. Paramount Prince might be alone in the lead. Now, initially, I thought there was a horse named El Cojete who could go with him. I also thought there were a few others who might go, but watching replays now, today, I'm like second-guessing myself. So even for somebody like me who's watched this for so long, I'm like, you know what, maybe this horse just gets out loose on the lead and, and just wires them. And so I think that's reflected in the price. So I think it's important to try to pick up on those cues. Who is the general public betting here?
Right.
And why are they betting?
Right. And I think, too, there's also the extra added in wrinkle of the surface, right? Like, Calic hasn't raced on this type of surface before. So for a new person as well, I think it's who's betting. Okay, if you know that information, why is it important to making a bet? Yep. And keeping it in that kind of straightforward vein, that's really what we're trying to do.
All right, so the horses are in the paddock. Rachel, are you? How are you feeling? You ready to do this? Tag back in. All right. Well, you bring the chips on. Because I want some.
I was not told that there'd be chips.
All right, come on, bring the chips on. So Rachel's gonna tag back in here. So actually, here, grab, switch to that mic right there, if you could, Andy. Rachel, here, grab your mic.
Play past the microphone here.
So this was sort of a joke we had
Did
last
Sean
night.
bring that up at all when he was on?
No, he didn't call me out.
You weren't here for this, but last night, Sean and I premeditated this whole scenario where he was going to come on today and have food and just see if you were going to turn to him and be like, hey, so that looks pretty good. Can I have a little bit of that? So Dan is a food pusher, if you're familiar with that term. And equally, if somebody has a little snack, a little something that looks good, he is the first person to be like, oh, what did you get there? And last night he ordered a salad when we were at Mohawk. Same thing as JD here. And naturally I ordered a bunch of fried fish and French fries. I've not had a vegetable this weekend. And within like 2 minutes of that plate getting set down, you're turning to me going, so those French fries look pretty good. How are they?
Potato's kind of a vegetable.
Take them. So that's the running joke now.
You didn't finish them. I helped you out.
I know. I got it preemptively. I knew he's going to want a little something salty and fried to go with all of that greenery.
Not that I want to bury Dan, but I think you missed the funniest part of the story, which was the waiter asked you like 3 times if you wanted ketchup, and Dan was asking if you wanted ketchup because he wanted ketchup to go with the fries. He didn't catch it.
He was sat behind me. I'm like, no, I love tartar sauce because it was fish and chips. And I'm like, I love tartar sauce on fries. And Dan's back. I'm like,
just a bit.
Okay.
So,
all right.
No, seriously, like fish and chips at Mohawk Fire. Like if you haven't been there before, fish and chips, that tartar sauce had a nice zing to it.
Okay.
You need some acid in a tartar sauce, which, I mean, we all know this.
These are facts.
And
art form.
This tartar sauce is amazing. These Lays are good too. If you guys, I mean, they're Rachel's, but if you guys want some, please.
No, please help yourselves. This is not sponsored, by the way.
It could be, but
however,
not now.
if you do want to sponsor me, I'm here for it. I'm available.
They're the horses in the paddock. Kalik right now, your favorite, 7-2. All right, Andy, we promised Ellis, who looks like he's handicapping frantically, we let him tag back in before this race. Before you go, one more time for the people tuning in, Railbirds, where do they find you, and what can they find there?
Yeah, so Railbirds, at My Railbirds, all social media, just at My Railbirds and myrailbirds.com. You'll find from social media content videos from picks like gentlemen like Dan, and all sorts of information where it's betting tips. It's kept in a form where the newbie can understand, and also that the experienced better can appreciate it as well.
It's 7 days a week.
7 days a week. We keep it fun. We have some articles too. We compared athletes, famous pro athletes to horses in this race. So a lot of fun content. Keep it light, keep it straightforward, and really try to get those new fans in who are sports fans and sports bettors to experience the horse racing side of it.
Awesome. All right. So Andy McNamara from Railbirds. Last chance to grab a chip.
You know, I'm going to grab one.
There you go. All right.
We got to love
Food
Liz.
pusher, I told you, I warned you.
Thanks, guys.
Thanks, Andy. Thanks, Andy. All right, Ellis, you're back in. Come on over. So that's it. We're getting, it's crunch time now. 15 minutes to the big race. We've got a couple people jumping in the chat here. We've got Rose from Malta. Welcome, Rose. Let's see. Good luck to the Barbadians in the King's Plate.
All right.
Yep.
Some people on my Kauko Kaipu train.
6 Fihu. I don't know. 6 Fiho? I don't know what that I think that means 6 is good.
Let's go.
Richard, 6, 11, 2, 15. So that's Kalik. Touch and ride.
Why not just throw them all? That's a long list, Richard. But
it's all right. Cover your bases.
It's true. In a field this big, cast a wide net.
Our boy Tony from Chicago here. Tony, what are you drinking? I see your. I know you got a beer in your hand. What are you drinking, Tony? And also, who are you picking? Let us know what's up. Anyone in the chat here, jump in now with your picks, your analysis. Ellis, I saw you had a little bit of an incident a few moments ago. You want to tell us about it?
Well, there's not two big suitcases blocking the entrance to the cable area.
Right. I would say that the kiddie railing has been installed.
Kiddie railing.
Yes.
The worst part of all is I was sitting right there and I was like, yeah, see ya.
Like, I want to watch this happen.
It would be really nice if she grabbed me by the coattails, not by the butt, but the coattails. Yeah. It's okay. It's a long day. It's a long day and it's hot. I had a brain fart.
It is. It's okay.
No, I had half a sandwich, but didn't help yet.
It's allowed.
Great race coming up. Anyway, I'm sure we're starting to talk about it, right?
Wait, by the way.
I'm trying to get off this other topic right now.
Anthony, back in the chat. How about this guy? He's like, I'm not taking any favorites. He's giving us 15 and 17.
17, that's a bold.
He's got Kauko Kaipu at 12-1 and at 44-1 Moon Landing. I like that. Look, the Barbados power is real here. A lot of support for Kauko Kaipu.
Well, there really is no favorite in the race. I'm 7-2 is like, this is the races we all dream about as handicappers and bettors when you got a 7-2 favorite, because even that's value. And then, if you like it, especially for the exotics and the exactus and trifectas here have the possibility, as he's shaking his head, to pay, 4 digits, even for a 20-cent bet here. Which, by the way, for those that don't know, if you're not betting Woodbine, the 20-cent trifecta is one of the best values there is.
Gives you some options, yep. Pops has just jumped in the chat here. So let's give why don't you give us a winning horse? What are you talking about? Give me a winning horse.
He just signed in. Sorry, Max. My mom has been in here since the start of the show.
Where have you been? Where's that support?
Okay, I know that we did have a special moment at Pegasus when I, threw out a random one to him, and he ended up.
Oh yeah, last time we did this, there was magic.
That was Last Samurai.
Give him the long shot. Who is it going to be? Is it going to be Kauko?
I'm hopeful for that. Again, I think that it was you that. Or no, it was Pete that mentioned it's tough to separate kind of having a vested interest in something from a human interest perspective in betting. And so while sentimentally, I think that would be a great story, there's obviously a lot of talent and competence among horses and trainers and experience in this field. So my sentimental pick, 15. And I'd have to say that Wickenheiser is probably what I'm going to go with. I am going to limit myself to, instead of rattling off 5, 6 different numbers.
Well, I think it's interesting because I think the two best stories, from a human interest standpoint in the race, You got the Roger Atfield horse on the rail, Stanley House, Atfield trying to break the record. And then you've got Coco Kaipu and all the connections and the Barbados folks and the Finns and everybody that's in on that horse, and the story of Ted Holder and what he's been through to keep his racing dream alive. I mean, those are all great things, and rooting really hard for both those horses. I think they both have a chance. I'm surprised on the betting board that Stanley House is at 8-1 right now.
It
and
is.
I'm also pretty surprised Coco Kaipu just took a hit down to 11-1. I expected a lot more steam. But, you know, you talked, Dan, about Paramount Prince being maybe the lone speed, and this is kind of the teaching moment that I think we can talk about a little bit that Andy was mentioning is I don't necessarily think Paramount Prince is the fastest horse in this field. I know it looks that way on paper to the cursory glance, and those that watched the plate trial and the coverage we had, the wonderful coverage we had here on ABR. But Silent Miracle last time out got blinkers for the first time. It was a completely different horse. That horse has speed. I think while you're seeing a lot bet on the 13 right now, I'm surprised that we're not seeing more wise guys on the 9 Silent Miracle with Ryan Munger aboard at 38-1.
Wow.
Because I think that horse has a chance to be on the lead, and that horse is bred to run all day.
Well, let me add another one here, because I think we discussed before. Velocitore, number 7, I think is another horse that is drawn inside of Paramount Prince and will not allow him to get the lead as easily as you think. Even though his last race in the plate trial, he stalked third, Paramount Prince got the lead, but Paramount Prince had the 3-hole that day, and Velocitore had the 5. Last November, when Velocitore won the Coronation Futurity at 9 furlongs, he led from the start from the 11 post under Justin Stein, who got back on for that last race. So I just have the feeling that the 7 and the 9 are not going to allow Paramount Prince, Velocitore, and Silent Miracle, not going to allow Paramount Prince to have the lead. I can't say it's going to be really fast-paced, but it's just enough to take the sting out of him, Dan. So I mean, if you're getting value, you definitely, if you think that 6-1 right now is value, definitely a play. But I've eliminated all of them as win contenders because of that.
I don't know if we're missing something. This is the second person to be on the 15 and 17 exacta
all day.
I don't know what's going on here.
Actually, they have to do it twice because it's Sunday.
Exactly, and twice on Sunday. Another shout out here for Khalik and the 6 horse.
And that is, in case you guys didn't hear
And by the way,
earlier,
the 6 horse shares common ownership with the 17 Moon Landing. They're both owned by LaPenta and E5 Racing. So that's interesting if you look at like the uncoupled entry status.
Compost here, by the way, is your horse. That's Touch and Ride, right? Yep. Jose Compost. So some support in the chat there as well. Let us know if you're watching, who you like. So I'm going to be honest, JD, you made my life a lot easier by putting this ticket in.
Yep.
Because I couldn't live with myself if this horse, Enjoy the Silent, number 18, won or hit the board and I didn't have anything on it. So I appreciate you doing that. Now the question is, I feel like this is a horse where you could probably, this is a race where I'm going to box 5 horses in a $1 try because I feel like the try is going to pay at least $2,000 here. So putting $60 in to do a $1 trifecta box and using 5 horses, I'm okay with. The horses that I'm absolutely using are Paramount Prince and Wickenheiser.
Okay, so 13 and 8.
13 and 8. And the ones that I initially had underneath are Cool Kiss, the 12, who I still have. I have Touch and Ride. And then I'm between Stanley House. Let me just take that off.
Use Elysian Field, I'd recommend, but
I don't know why I'm so off
Phillies do
Field right now.
so good in this race.
Yeah, I feel like the
better.
draw is going to be such an issue for her. I feel like she's going to get. You guys both. You think Elysian Field's the horse to add?
I think Elysian Field's a must include for me. I'm not too worried about the 2 post in this situation, just because you don't have speed until you look at, gate 7, gate 9. I think there's so much run up before a turn here for this race. I don't think having the 2-hole is a problem. I don't think having the 1-hole is a problem in this race. So have so much run up before that first turn.
So who comes out? I've got to take somebody. If I add Elysian Field, I got to remove either Wickenheiser, who's my top pick, Touch and Ride, Cool Kiss, who I think is, one of the best closers in the field. We haven't seen too many horses come from off the pace to win, but I like that horse to close. I have Paramount Prince and I have Coco Kaipu. So who comes out?
I don't personally like Cool Kiss. So
Everybody doesn't. Nobody likes Cool Kiss.
That would be my thought there in terms of, I just, the plate trial run was impressive. I'm just worried about this horse getting the distance. I think this horse is a one-turn sprinter, and I think he's going to have a fine career doing that. Maybe I'm wrong, but that's what I've seen visually from the races so far. So to me, I think there's a chance that Cool Kiss could run in there. I think this is how tough a race this is like, I can't say with 100% certainty you should throw any horse out in this field right now. I mean, we've got, 68-1 on the horse you like, Enjoy the Silent. I mean, we've got numbers all over the place, and horses that, make sense on paper. You look at Philip My Dear sitting at 37-1. That's the 2-year-old of the year last year in Canada. So, I mean, there's prices all around, and I wish you luck. Essentially, you were looking for help, and I'm just going to wish you luck, Dan.
So I just pulled a Dan, by the way. I went and deposited
money into your account?
Oh, I'm like
rubbing off on me
We're getting
today.
up there, yeah. We're getting up there.
So one of my favorite plays is to take 3 horses in maybe a 12-horse field and play them in an exacta box, and then with all in second in the trifecta for 50 cents.
Yep.
In this race, I do 4 because you've got such a big field. So I played 1, 2, 6, 11 in an exacta box. That's Stanley House, Elysian Field, Kalick, and Touch and Ride. So that's an exacta box, and then for the get just 20-cent trifecta, 1, 2, 6, 11 with 1, 2, 6, 11. So to make it even, the trifecta was $36. So I bet a $6 exacta box. So I bet 2 $36 bets, about the same price. And if any 2 of the 4 come in first and second or first and third, I win. If all 3 come in first, second, third, I cash both bets, and let's get it done. I wanted to add, by the way, we talked about it offset, that yesterday when I found out JD liked Touch and Ride like I did, I was very excited because I think he's a really good handicapper, so I think we have a good shot here. Sorry, Dan. Sorry, Rachel.
So look, I'm fiddling with my ticket here. I just removed Touch and Ride.
Okay.
And I added Elysian Field. I feel like you made a good case for Elysian Field, and I was on Elysian Field. So if Elysian Field wins or hits the board, and I don't have her, I'm going to feel dumb.
I mean, the one thing I will say in terms of Touch and Ride is, from what I've
all
seen
or nothing,
so far,
right?
It's all or nothing.
Yeah.
This horse is either the best horse in the field, or this horse is going to struggle against this competition with the step up in class here. It's one or the other, and I think this horse fits on paper. Obviously has the strongest buyer of any contender in this field so far, but first time facing winners in the largest stakes race in Canada, that is a tough ask.
Of course, just as I said, I've removed Touch and Ride. My dad is keying.
So let me tell you something about Touch and Ride.
over.
Yeah, you've already made your bets. So I'm just
no,
I'm just rubbing it in.
I haven't hit submit yet.
Okay. So if you worry about horses getting 1.25 miles, there's one horse in the race specifically. There's actually 2 that are the best bred for 10 furlongs, and that's Elysian Field as a daughter of Hardspun. But even more than that is Touch and Ride, is a Candy Ride, who not only has a bunch of 10 furlong all-weather winners, but was the sire of the 2018 Breeders' Stakes winner, which is 1 mile and 3/16 at Fort Erie.
Okay.
Nipawa.
The concern would just be lack of experience and a big field, right?
Doesn't every Derby winner win after a third career start these days?
Is this the Derby?
It looks like it. So if you guys have been having to stare at the back of my head, it's because I keep turning around and looking at this massive post parade that legitimately looks like a repeat of the Kentucky Derby. And I saw that Richard made a comment that I completely agree with. So 6, Kalick is currently the favorite, but he was not my favorite walking by.
Really?
He was really on his toes, prancing, dancing. And just from an energy expenditure standpoint, to me, if a horse is too lathered up, too sweaty leading into a race, looks a little too amped up, they're burning through essential resources that they're going to need in a 1.25 mile race. It doesn't matter, he could be gassed late in the game, because whatever energy resources you need to call upon at the end, you need those desperately. So I don't know if anybody else up here is a believer in that. But to me,
I literally just took a picture of you because you're doing something that's so special. She's hiding the bag of Lay's underneath.
We were about to blow off the set. We don't need any more incidents with Ellis on screen. I didn't want these chips going your way.
The ultimate would be like if the bag of chips like blew you off of the whole, you know.
I'm so lightheaded it would have knocked me over.
Okay, well, a minute to post, you guys.
That was really just me asking you for more chips.
Now's the time to lock in the bets. Dan is refueling on electrolytes.
I think I submitted the bet. I think the bet's in.
And you're still shipping the longest shot on the board. This could be a rich strike scenario for you, Dan.
Should be amazing. We would definitely have to go to the casino after this, though, if he won.
On Dan, of course.
Obviously, that's
We got to do final thoughts. So what's your final play here?
All right. I'm going to keep it simple. I'm going to hope for Wickenheiser to win, keep that Philly victory rolling. And also Kauko Kaipu, the 15.
8-15 for Rachel.
8 and 15 is who I'm rooting on. JD.
My top 4 all week in order of preference have always been 11, 15, 2, and 6 in that order. I'm not deviating from that at this point. I think, as Ellis mentioned, I'm tossing Paramount Prince. I think there's just too much speed signed on here. So Paramount Prince is an absolute toss, even though that horse was my top pick in the plate trial and obviously wired the field. Today is a different day. Today's King's Plate day, and I just think there's too much pace signed on. So I've already done it. I mean, touch and ride, the bet's in. We'll see how we're doing.
I'm 11, 6, 2, 1, and the same thing. We're got three of the same horses.
And I do have to correct one thing I said. Two-way crossing is the Roger Outfield horse. I misspoke. Obviously, Stanley House, Michael DiPaolo. I do think that, Stanley House is starting to take a little bit more money, 7-1. We'll see if the late money is true. Obviously, that horse has been heavily favored pretty much all along the way here. Has been in the favorite in 3 of the 5 races so far.
One thing I don't think we talked about, the fact that, Kalick is the favorite, although lukewarm, but never been on all-weather and never worked on all-weather.
Yeah.
What does everybody think about that?
I think...
Not great.
Not great. I mean, it's Chad Brown, and that's
Looks like
part of it.
The sun is maybe slightly peeking out, probably not for long enough to slow the track down significantly. But
Look, if Kalick wins, I've got nothing.
I think kickback is completely different on Tapeta than it is on dirt.
Right.
So, I mean, that's a very valid point. And, again, kind of another reason why I'm not huge on the 6. I think the 6 is a super talented horse. But I just, at 3-1, I can't do it.
Yeah, good horse for it. You agree. A good horse. You got to use him in your exotics.
Yep.
But we got to try and beat him, making win bets, and hoping exactly that we get longer odds horses home.
They're loading in now. I'm going to remove this screen here, and in a moment we'll put up the screen with the sound of the King's Plate. We'll hear Robert Geller make the call. Thank you, everyone, for joining us. For the first time since 1951, this is the King's Plate, no longer the Queen's Plate. So really interested to see what happens here. We've got differing opinions across the board. There are going to be surprises here. There's 17 horses. There's no way this runs as expected. A couple of late opinions here from Renee saying 6 out of the money. One Stanley House
was the pick
there.
of one of our earlier guests that has the trainer insight.
And more picks coming in. Good luck to everyone who is betting at home and wherever you are.
I'm just seeing a lack of support for Dan Tordjman right now in the comment section.
No one has picked Enjoy the Silence, so 73-1 if this happens.
If this hits,
I'm going to cry probably.
I hope you bet a couple dollars across the board.
What's that?
I hope you bet a couple of dollars across the board even. Third's going to pay
JD took care of me.
$30. All right, good.
JD took care of it. Thank you, brother.
Across the board is the best bet.
All right, let's go. Kauko and Wickenheiser. My man, let's go.
Go.
Catch and ride. Touch and ride. All right, they're just about all loaded. We'll sit back, let you enjoy this race. A couple more comments here. A lot of support for Stanley House, huh? 4-1 now. Stanley House is your clear-cut second choice, the one horse.
Stanley House might go favorite.
At 4-1. Good luck, everyone.
They stand. And they're off in the King's Plate. And a fantastic break. One of the best into stride is Paramount Prince deep on the track, and Velocitor. Elysian Field got away well with Silent Miracle between horses up in the top 4. Midnight in Malibu going up on the outside, and well-placed Touch and Ride taken up slightly there. Elysian Field is over on the inside as the field works its way down the stretch the first time, going up to be 5th Twin City. Caught a bit wide, Calcol Kaipu, and deeper is Moon Landing. Kalik is in the center mid-pack. A length behind them is Stanley House over on the inside. Then came Wickenheiser, Cool Kiss, and trying to get up the rails, Philip My Dear. Back on the inside is more Stashies, and towards the back as they take the turn, two-way crossing the outside, and Enjoy the Silent. Slowing them down, Patrick Husbands in the King's Plate. It's Paramount Prince the leader, a length and a half out in front, and racing up handy is Silent Miracle on the outside, in third placing Velocitor. A length and a half away, 4th Twin City. On the inside, Elysian Field. 3 wide is Midnight in Malibu. Caught deep on the track is Moon Landing, and Calcol Kaipu is in the center. Kalik traveling pretty nicely in behind them, is coming up in between runners. On the inside, Philip My Dear. The leader's getting away a bit, Paramount Prince. More Stashies on the inside. Getting well back is Touch and Ride. Losing ground there, Calcol Kaipu. Towards the back, Wickenheiser. Stanley House has made some ground, about 5th or 6th last, and coming around the outside is Cool Kiss and two-way crossing. Paramount Prince out in front by 2 lengths in the King's Plate. In second, Velocitor as they go inside the 3/8. Elysian Field, a filly coming up beautifully on the inside, coming after the stablemate. A length away came Twin City. Moon Landing running a big race. Behind them, Stanley House. And here comes Elysian Field on the inside as they turn the Mark Cassie pair in front. Paramount Prince, Elysian Field, Velocitor kicking on, and here's Javier Castellano. Stanley House trying to run them down. Paramount Prince in front. A furlong to run, dashed away for Patrick Husbands. Elysian Field in second. Stanley House in third. But Paramount Prince, Prince becomes the king. Paramount Prince wins the 164th King's Plate. A length and a half. Elysian Field second. Third, Stanley House. Velocitor fourth, and 5th, Touch and Ride. 2-1-93.
Paramount Prince, wire to wire. We've said it plenty. You had to be up front. That's where he was at 8-1. Got to the front, stayed up there. Elysian Field was right behind him every step of the way and stayed there. And then you had Stanley House with a nice move from off the pace to finish third. I changed my ticket up a little bit at the end, so I actually did not hit the try, but I have a little pick 3 going, got a couple of things going, and unfortunately, Enjoy the Silent did not cash for me. It was a tough race. Like, we all wanted a bunch of different things to happen, but the reality was, like, you had to be up front, and that's what Paramount Prince did.
Well, Touch and Ride finished 5th, and Enjoy the Silent 6th. So at those odds, I think you have to be happy with that race. But yeah, we saw it set up. The 3 horses that we thought were going to be up front were there, but the 9 and the 7 never got up to the throat latch of the 13. The 13 made it exactly look like the plate trial. That race looked like the plate trial.
Exact same thing. And I do think El Cojete defecting from the race made a difference. I thought, after watching a bunch of replays, that was the only horse who probably would go ahead and actually get up with Paramount Prince early. Without that horse in the race, I do think that made a difference because Paramount Prince just had it all. It was really that second fraction there, that 47-2, gets the breather, 111-4. These aren't slow times, but after the 23-1 got to the front and from there, kind of settled things down a little bit.
I'll tell you what really I think made the difference was on the far turn when Sahin Savachi on Elysian Field was trying to go inside, and Patrick Husbands did what a lot of jockeys don't do and just kept the hole there, forcing Elysian Field to go around. And then Husbands asked Paramount Prince just a little bit. I think if Paramount Prince had drifted off the rail, Elysian Field might have given him much more race than he had at that point.
Yep. Rachel?
Wow. Mark Cassie having a day of it. And I mean, the Barber connection, they had 2 horses in this race, or connected to, that got the 1 and the 2. That's a pretty impressive day for them as an ownership.
Finish, and of course, Stanley House now finishing 3rd. Mike DiPaolo, we saw the feature on that horse earlier. Really nice horse. I mean, these horses, you know, you'll see them, at least a good number of them in the Prince of Wales coming up as the Canadian Triple Crown continues. But Patrick Husbands, he really is like, you know, along with Cassie, you know, he's the trainer. Patrick Husbands is the jockey of Woodbine. He's been the man here for a bunch of it. Kazushi Kimura has been great. Sahin Savachi is having a banner year. Patrick Husbands reminding everyone he's still the man.
Yeah. And Gary Barber getting a second stakes win on the card. With just such a big investment in this game with everything he breeds and owns. And this horse, Paramount Prince, just, you know, just bred so well and coming through, just getting that extra quarter mile and showing what a real racehorse took all comers. And yeah, you know, and again, Husbands about the first quarter mile. Husbands cleared early, and I looked at Dan and I said, "It wasn't." I didn't say it wasn't supposed to happen. I said, "Well, that happened."
Oh, look, and when it happened, you knew there was a good chance
they
were going all the way.
That's correct. Yeah, when you get 2 lengths over the 2 others, and the 2 other speeds that JD and I talked about were there, but they refused to go with them. They conceded it to him.
And Velociter held on really well for 4th there at 71-1 for our Superfecta players. Justin Stein with a great job holding Velociter together to finish 4th. The big question, and I was watching the replay, it looked like Kalick might have finished last.
Really?
Never was in the race, really, and I don't know, eased. I mean, that's just a look and trying to base it off of Silks at the replay, but yeah, I want to see that replay a few more times, and hopefully we can get a complete order finish and figure it out, but definitely slightly disappointing. And all the late money on Stanley House almost the favorite with a strong 3rd place effort there.
The only horse to make a move from off the pace. So
yeah, because the filly Alicia Field was right there, came up the rail. Saint Savachi, that was a great ride, but just too much. Paramount Prince, there was a lot of talk going into the plate trial that the plate trial was too far for this horse. Paramount Prince just continues to prove us wrong.
So good opportunity to make money moving forward. You look at the horses here in a race where no one made any move from the back except for Stanley House, Touch and Ride, and Enjoy the Silence. Those are horses to keep an eye on, because if you can make up ground on this track right now in a race like this, the next time they race, especially if there are a couple of horses battling for the lead and they're over a different track, those are horses to keep an eye on. So
the next leg of the Triple Crown is the Prince of Wales on regular dirt.
Yep.
And speed holds up better on dirt than it does on Tapeta.
We'll see, but it may not be that race. It may be another race down the road. But these are horses.
Oh yeah.
You might see, oh well, that horse finished 6th or 5th in the plate, but no, they finishing 5th or 6th here is like finishing 2nd or winning normally. So especially if you were coming from off the pace and you were up against it. Velocitor, you know, I think that trip that Velocitor had, that was the kind of trip you would expect that horse to back up to last from. The fact that the horse stayed up and finished 4th, an indication of how the track was playing today. Here's the good news, more good news, lots of good news. It's been a beautiful weekend here at Woodbine. As we see Paramount Prince getting draped with the garland there and becoming the first King's Plate winner since 1951. Patrick Husbands, of course, knows all about this process, entering the winner's circle at Woodbine. There is more money to be made, and I see the numbers here. I see hundreds of you watching right now. You don't want to leave, because we're going to give you a ticket coming up here in the Jackpot High Five in race 13, where there is a $300,000 plus carryover. That carryover we're going to capitalize on. And Ellis and JD have put a ticket together. Me and Rachel are like, nah, we'll just stop at the King's Plate. But JD and Ellis have a ticket for us. So as we take a look at Paramount Prince entering the winner's enclosure here for the King's Plate, let's start talking about that carryover, race 13. You guys can toss a coin for it.
Well, first of all, it's fantastic. It's not only a carryover, but it's a mandatory payout, which people just, I mean, as bettors, we should just be really excited about. $337,493.18. And it'll probably go over $1 million.
Okay.
and it's a 20-cent bet. Now the race is a full field, and it's a 20-cent bet trying to pick the first 5 finishers in order. But everybody's going to get paid, that wins the ticket, because there's no carryover, no jackpot. All the money's going to be paid out. $1 million in new money, maybe, we're hoping. So it could be 1.3, 1.2 million, et cetera, which is a really big pool for this kind of bet.
And it's a fun race because it's the first of the series of Woodbine Turf endurance races for the year. So they're going 1 3/8 miles on the Bet365 Interturf course here at Woodbine. Full field signed on. It's going to be a lot of fun, and there's a couple different ways to play the ticket. Obviously, I'm trying to go for the home run, so to speak, and my home run ticket that we have has me keying a horse in 4th. I think it just allows you some more options. If you happen to be right, I can spread a lot more with a key stand. And I think what we've seen with this pace scenario, a horse closing, I don't think can win on any of the surfaces today based on the wind and the weather conditions and what we've seen on the track over the last couple days. So the deepest closer in the field, the 11, Little Big Gangster. I love keying that horse in 4th in that super high 5. So do what you will with the rest of the legs. But I'm saying key.
Of course, we'll finish 4th.
Key the 11. And this is the only way that you can get, well, I guess there's a superfect as well. But it's one of 2 ways you can get paid for a runner finishing 4th.
So take a look at some of the payouts. Well, they just left the screen, but $293, I believe, was the payout for the trifecta. They are a very havable trifecta with 3 horses under 10 to 1, all finishing in those top 3. As we see Paramount Prince and Patrick Husbands and Gary Barber and Mark Cassie and the whole team, they are celebrating the victory. I do want to go back to the chat because really we have to acknowledge Khalik, and most likely prefers the turf, but really we have to give some praise here to Rachel.
Thank you.
Spotted this.
Yeah, I mean, as much as you can look at a program and handicap all day long, at the end of the day, horses are animals, athletes. They might have had everything leading up and into a race, but at the end of the day, for me, he was kind of showing the telltale signs of things that I would not want to see. And again, I'm no expert of handicapping, but I would like to think that I have good experience and understanding of horses and animals. And going into a race, you don't want to see that lather, prancy, dancy, and I do wonder where he ended up shaking out on the field. But I know that was Pete's pick, and he was a big believer.
To remind him.
I'm sorry, Pete.
Well, a couple people, right? A couple people like that horse here.
Yeah, and he was the favorite, so a lot of people liked him.
Yep.
But sometimes that's how it shakes out.
A good observation, though, seriously, to call that out. And I think it helped. Had my trifecta pick of 13, 2, and 12.
Oh, my gosh.
Oh, no.
So,
Just missed it.
12.
Full kiss.
Push
that
it
was one I liked again, yeah.
A little bit far. Following Dan off.
Well, I mean, again, if you were picking horses who were closing, I mean, it was not a good day. Again, Wickenheiser, I want to watch the replay as well here to see where Wickenheiser finished, because I think Wickenheiser has a big, big career ahead of her. It's just, this was not the track for her to run over. So she's won, and anyone who really fell too far back early, I think, was going to be in trouble. So, all right, let's take this off the screen for a moment. Do you want to walk through, Ellis? I know you got a Jackpot High Five ticket yourself. How are you just structuring yours? We've got JD's at the bottom of the screen, but how are you structuring?
First of all, let me say JD's horse, Little Bit Gangsta, is certainly a horse I have a lot of respect for. They ran this series last year. He won actually the mile and 16th race. He was 3rd at the mile and 3/8 race, only beating the length, and then he was beating the neck in the mile and a half race. So these longer distances are certainly ones he likes. I was going to play one of 2 tickets, so I'll go to what I didn't do. I was going to take his stand, and I was going to key a horse, number 1, Meyer. And I was going to use Meyer in 1st, 2nd, 3rd, because Meyer also last year, he won the mile and a half race. He ran 2nd in the mile and 3/4 race. He was 2nd in the mile and 3/8 race. And this year, he's run not well, but he's only run a mile and 16. So back at this longer distance, he's really going to like it. So for folks out there thinking about how you strategize to play, I was going to play Meyer in 1st, 2nd, and 3rd, and used 5 other horses with Meyer in the positions, and if I could afford it, all in the bottom. The other horses, just quick to mention, are the 2 Green Fleet, the 6 Cupid's Claws, the 8 Ron's Gizmo, the 10 Sir Sahib, a little bit Gangsta. Now, those would have been $343 tickets, $129, but we're playing for $1 million, so it wasn't. I thought it was worth the risk. But I decided to go instead and say, okay, well, who do I really think is going to be the winner, and then go deeper in second and third. So the ticket I structured is the 1 Meyer, the 8 Ron's Gizmo, the 10 Sir Sahib, and the 11 Little Bit Gangsta in the first position, and then those same horses, and add Green Fleet, the 2, and add the 1, 8, 10, 11, 1, 2, 6, 8, add Cupid's Claws in second. So it's 1, 8, 10, 11, and then using 1, 2, 6, 8, 10, 11 in all the other 4 positions. And that ends up being a $96 ticket. So it's kind of odd because you've got to get second, third, fourth, and fifth, and I've got, 5 horses, so I have really no margin for error, but the rest of the field does look like they really can't do much. So I guess JD's ticket complements mine in terms of using a particular horse in one position, but that was the way I decided to go.
We've seen the turf play in a similar manner to the all-weather surface. The one horse I didn't hear either of you mention, unless I missed it, was Hullabaloo, who is, at least based on what I'm looking at on paper, the horse most likely to be on the lead. Are we concerned about number 9, Hullabaloo, even though he's 20-1, even though logically maybe doesn't fit? I mean, if you put a line to the last race, that prior race looks pretty decent. What do we think? I mean, do we just blow this whole thing up and be like, heck, we got to throw that 9 horse up there?
The one thing I'll say is, has my favorite speed jockey on the grounds, Juan Crawford aboard.
Right? Yeah, he definitely hustles the horse out.
So, but I don't see the distance. I don't see the horse making this distance. I mean
mile and a 3/8, who knows? So here's my thought with the mile and 3/8. They're all going to be tired, once they hit a mile and a 16th. So they're all going to be running the same tired pace. So whoever's in front at that point is most likely to stay there. Is that good enough logic?
It becomes pedigree or previous races, and my handicapping this race was look at this series last year and who ran the mile and 3/8, who was at least in the money at a mile and 3/8, mile and a half, mile and 3/4.
Yeah, that's fair. Rachel?
A little bit gangsta.
There we go. All right.
I know that JD shouted that one out earlier, and in reference to you, I wish that we had a picture on file of what Dan looked like in his teen years, but he was definitely a little bit gangsta.
I think a lot
if
of it.
If you haven't had the pleasure of seeing those images, stay tuned. We might post them on Twitter or something.
All right. So Kevin here with a kind word for the winning team. Wayne, the same. A lot of people really happy about the winner here, Paramount Prince. This is more of the winner's ceremony going on and just wrapping up here at Woodbine. So we've hit 6 o'clock. I think we're pretty close to closing time. I will go ahead and thank my co-host here, Ellis Starr, JD Fox, Rachel Miller. And of course, as always, thank our team, Alex Probst, not only from Mohawk to Woodbine, but also running beer and also being like, what are you saying? Tell me more. Yeah, exactly.
Grandpa.
JD Mitchell, Greg Charkoudian setting up this set here on the 5th floor at Woodbine. Lights, wires everywhere. Just ask Ellis.
Thank you.
It's quite the setup here. And obviously we thank our friends at Woodbine for hosting us, as always, and we thank the viewers for jumping in. So I'm going to throw a couple more comments here. Very nice horse.
The super effective, by the way, 20-cent super pay, $2,224. $2,224 for a 20-cent superfecta.
And again, nothing crazy except for maybe Velocitor in the 4th spot.
Right.
So $2,224 if you hit that for 20 cents. I hit that pick 3 a couple of times. I mean, for 20 cents, for $93. So something.
Yeah.
But there it is. Paramount Prince is your King's Plate winner for 2023. So thank you guys.
Thanks, Dan.
Thank you.
Our pleasure. My pleasure.
Want to blow kisses to the people at home?
Today has been a fun one.
Yeah.
Had the best time ever. I love kind of learning, traveling, figuring out a little bit more every single race and getting more and more confused by every handicapper that comes on the show. You'd think that I would be honing in on some skills and insights, but no, it's a blast with you guys.
If you want some kind of late night handicapping from Ellis and JD, at Uber Capper on X, at Horse Tickets, they've got their picks up. We'll have a lot more, obviously, in the coming days about this King's Plate and the aftermath. We'll also be back here next month for, is it the Woodbine Mile next month? Good Lord. Next month, September.
Like I said, it's basically November already.
Good Lord.
Pumpkin spice is about to be all around us.
Right? A couple of weeks away. So anyhow, thank you all for watching. We'll see you next time.
It's America's original sport, and no one covers it better than americasbestracing.net. From the sport to the lifestyle, the best races, horses, and destination venues, cocktails, gambling, fashion, and more. americasbestracing.net is a sport for you.